It has been a long time coming, but we are finally here, and it is time to party! Woo!
Oh, yeah.
No set schedule tonight, no particular
Been a long
topic.
road.
There's no rules, there's no regulations. There is going to be all kinds of hell breaking loose, and it's going to be a hell of a good time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 300th episode of the Intergalactic Peace Coalition podcast. My name is Zach. I've been with you for like 280-something, 290-something of those episodes, and it is an extreme pleasure to be back for episode 300. I just keep saying 300 because my mind is blown at the thought of having 300 podcast episodes under your belt over the course of 6+ years. It's crazy. And he's been with me through all of those years and put up with all kinds of my crap. And here for the 300th celebration, would not want to do it without him. My buddy, my good friend, my co-host, the guy, like I said, puts up with my crap, Mr. Benjamin Hart.
My goodness. My goodness.
Oh,
what have we done?
I don't know.
What did we do?
I don't know.
We started something. And now,
don't know.
300 times later, wow.
Like,
yes, thank you guys.
Wow.
For sticking with us, whether this is your second episode, whether it's your 300th episode, because there's nobody on this call that has been here all 300 times. We've all missed.
We've all missed at least once.
And so if one of you out there has been with us since the beginning, thank you so much. And it's been a wild ride, and it's going to get wilder. It's going to get wild tonight. We're doing something now we've never done before, which is we're just out here. We're this is a more visual medium, and we're actually we'll get into the whole situation here that we're dealing with and how you can actually be part of the show. But there's more people than just us, Zach.
Yeah, there
We're
are.
not the only ones here.
Like I said, this is a party. This is a celebration. If you want to be part of the fun, be part of the party, just join us in the chat on channel1138.com. Join us in the chat on Facebook Live. Ask us for the Zoom link because we are on Zoom live right now, video chatting with people who have been a part of IPC over the years to help us celebrate this 300th episode. And to help us celebrate, he's been with us for over a year now. He was a guest even before that, and we've always had a really great time with him. Back for more fun, it's Mr. Jake Damon.
How's it going, everybody, near and far? We've got, like, in the Zoom alone, we have people from all over the world already. It's insane. 300 episodes. That is absolutely crazy. That it speaks to the commitment that you guys have had, the vision. Things have changed and morphed over time, but the spirit of what you guys have started has remained. And I have loved being part of this podcast for the last year or so, and the times I've guested before that. And it's an honor to have been part of that. Up to this point, like 300 episodes is crazy. I swear I remember, 100 episodes and whatnot.
Seems like yesterday.
It does. It does. And just getting to know, like Steven and all the people that listen has been amazing. And I'm super happy to be here, and I can't wait to celebrate 300 episodes with you guys tonight.
Yeah, we're celebrating, and we're not the only ones that are going to be doing the celebrating. It's usually the three of us on the call, but we've got more people that are hanging out with us and having fun as well. So to help us continue with this party, with this celebration, we've got a longtime listener. He's also been a guest on the show before. He's making dinner, apparently, and he's got the strongest beard game amongst any of us by a wide margin. A wide margin. Please say hello to Steven Shinder.
Hey, what should I list this time for Shinder's list?
What do we do for Shinder's list? We're having a lot of fun just thinking back on previous Shinder's lists, thinking back on previous encounters that we've had, previous episodes that we've discussed. And like you were talking about a second ago, Jake, this show is international. And that is something that still blows my mind. Like, we've got a patron in Dan Grievous who listens from Bulgaria all the time. And we've got people like Robin Glader, who listen from the other side of the pond. Rory Williamson is a co-host on 1138, who's done a lot of stuff in the Great Britain area. And we actually have one of our longtime listeners, international listeners, awake with us at almost 5 a.m. his time. Oh my gosh. You win the Night Owl Award. And you're the coolest dude here by a pretty wide margin. Matias, thank you for being a part of our celebration. I know that it took a lot to get there, but we're so excited to have you.
As I've said to Ben and Jake, I was really going backwards and forwards about this 2 hours after you actually said.
I can't say I blame you. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I feel like I had to, because this is not going to be usual. So
Nothing.
You're gonna do it.
If I'm going to do this is going to happen now.
Once every 300 episodes.
Once in a lifetime.
It's very
that's what I
very
felt.
rare.
Because here's the thing. We are all on Zoom together. We can all see each other. The link is out there to people. We've already had, before we started, we had a troll that tried to troll us. There was some guy named Pablo. And stuff happened. We're not going to talk about what happened. We're just going to say that Pablo has been removed. But but anything could happen because the link is public. Anybody can just drop in on us. So that's a thing. And I am not, the visual medium thing is just throwing me off. Because if you're actually watching this, I may not be looking at the camera because I'm used to being in the dark without my camera. And for 8 years, 9 years, so this is really weird actually seeing all of you guys and then you guys seeing me. So I can't do anything weird in the background. You're going to see me doing it. So I can't just walk away. I can't, do weird things. So, it's going to be interesting. And this could be either a tremendous disaster or the best episode we've ever done, or both.
I think it's a little of both, honestly.
I was gonna say a good blend of the two.
It's gonna be a lot of fun because I figured out how OBS works and I've got the screen share function going. So anybody that's watching on Facebook Live is actually watching the Zoom call right now and getting the audio picked up and stuff. So that's really cool. Top fives. That's been something that we have done for a few years now. Like, we've been on the air for 6 years, and I think it's been, like, a thing of ours for, like, 2 or 3 years, like, at least. Do you guys remember if we were doing top fives by the time we all got together in Texas? Because that was in 2017. Were we doing top fives by then? I think we were.
I feel like it was a thing by then, but my perception of time is, like, way off by now.
I think it was at least 2017, and it's the middle of 2020 now. So we've been doing this for about half the time the podcast has been in existence. What was you guys' favorite top 5 discussion, and what was the most difficult top 5 discussion that we've done in our last recent history on IPC?
Who wants to go first?
I like, for me personally, I feel like I had a really tough time with our most recent one about top 5 battle sequences. That one was really, really tough because I had like 20 that I was trying to choose from.
That's why I didn't post mine, because I knew I would have needed a week at least to make mine.
Yeah.
Well,
I think I could probably combine the two, because one that comes to mind more recently is the top 5 quarantine TV shows.
Yeah.
That was tough, but it was also so much fun because, like, I have a lot of TV shows that I love and have been going through during quarantine and would just be perfect for any quarantine type situation. And, I can't even remember what my list was because in my mind there's like 50 of them and I'm like, it could have been any one of those, but it was tough, but it was a lot of fun to talk about those.
Could be same here.
Yeah, I think I might know mine. So most difficult for me, like so difficult that I didn't even try, was top 5 vehicles.
Was
That's
that what it
more
was?
like-
Just like vehicles in general?
Was
or
it
top 5 Star Wars vehicles?
I think it was
guess.
Star Wars vehicles because we were doing like
Yeah.
AT-ATs
Was
and
it like
AT-STs
number 5
and
motorcycle?
LATs and gunships and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard to pick a absolute favorite, like just thinking on the spot. Like there definitely are gems, like the Jeff Goldblum one, because of how priceless Zach's reaction to me not including Jurassic Park was and how hilarious that was. Like top 5 movies we're looking forward to this year, which in hindsight is wild.
Kind of
That was
hilarious.
weird.
That was
one.
so ironic because we're like, oh yeah, we're getting this movie and we're getting this movie, and then we didn't.
The
Right.
question
Yeah.
now is, will
Not in
5
this
movies
universe.
come out this year?
My gosh.
I don't remember my list, but I do know that at least one of them has come out this year. That's
Yeah,
kind of-
we've gotten a few. I think I put New Mutants on mine, and New Mutants just came out not too long ago, but I haven't gotten around to watching it. I'm not brave enough to go to a movie theater yet.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Okay, which is ironic because I just went to a football
Mm-hmm.
game that had like 2,000 people there. So,
All right.
Yeah.
but it's outdoors, and they had
Mhm.
rows sectioned off, and we were like trying to be socially distanced, and like some people were in masks and some people had like those plastic face shields. Like, I don't know if I could be in a closed off room watching something for 2 hours when on the other side of the aisle, or like 2 or 3 seats away from me, I hear a like, no, all of a sudden I just start going Cardi B on your ass, going coronavirus. Like, that's how I be. And so I don't know. I don't know if I could like actually do that, but I have seen people posting pictures that when they go to like really late night showings, like 9, 10 o'clock, there's not very many people there. So maybe that's the trick. You got to go later in the evening.
That's what I'm banking on, is like getting in the theater, which most of the time happens to me. I get to the theater. See, I enjoy having a full theater.
Yeah.
Most of the
Me
time,
too,
it's
man.
not. Most of the time, like Avengers Endgame, I wanted to be like in a full theater.
Oh,
It
that's
wasn't a
great.
full theater. There was like 12 people there. It was still great, but like
Wow.
there was nobody there because it was late at night, and normally speaking, that's when I see movies. So it's crazy. It's funny you mentioned movies. I was gonna say the hardest top 5 for me probably is top 5 most anticipated films of 2020. It's hard because I haven't seen half of them by now.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest one for me.
Yeah,
It's
but I mean,
ironic because, like, we say 2020 vision, but we haven't seen some of them with our 2020 vision.
Nobody. Okay, you remember like back in 2015 where people were like, "Oh, I'm sick of people asking me what I'm going to do in 5 years. Come on, guys. I don't have 2020 vision." Like, nobody had 2020 vision.
nobody knew what.
Nobody.
Nobody saw this crap coming.
Nobody saw that. I was like,
And 2015 was when we heard Quicksilver say you didn't see that coming.
oh,
And
man.
it's still a relevant quote. It's still relevant.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's funny how, we're kind of taking advantage of this whole quarantine. We're doing this on Zoom. I had never heard of Zoom prior to the pandemic.
The only
Right.
Zoom I'd ever heard of was the PBS
I
show.
know what you're going to say. Yeah.
Come on and
Yup.
Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Come on and Zoom. Come on and Zoom. Zoom. Zoom and Zoom. Zoom. Zoom.
No,
Zoom.
no,
I can speak fluent
Or
ubby-dubby.
zooming in
Ubby
time.
dubby.
Ubby dubby.
Or the other Zoom, of course, is that terrible superhero movie with Tim Allen.
Wait,
I've
I've
never,
never heard of
zooming on
this.
camera.
Exactly.
What?
You've never heard of it. Yeah.
Tim
It's,
Allen in a super movie. Okay.
Yep.
I'm-
He plays
It's like Buzz Lightyear.
well, he plays like a Flash-like character, like just a really fast character named Zoom.
So
I liked
he-
it when I was a kid. It's
I
pretty
like
So he's a
Zoom,
Flash
the
villain.
Flash villain.
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
Can
right?
you imagine in the Flash they have Zoom, the actual comic book character, and he pulls off the mask?
Tim Allen.
No,
no
okay.
signs of
Something that will be
intelligent
for
life
a multiple multiverse.
In all seriousness, though, what's the best Tim Allen movie, and what is the worst Tim Allen movie?
Oh man, best one.
Galaxy Quest.
Excuse
by
me
far.
for a moment, but I'm gonna
Either-
disqualify myself because I haven't seen enough Tim Allen movies to even say anything about this.
Well,
I would
then
say
we got to
either-
expose you to some Tim Allen culture, then, my friend.
Either Galaxy Quest or Toy Story.
I want to say Toy Story 3 is my favorite of his.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Okay,
what my worst is.
I know what my worst is.
Maybe
Santa Claus
Shaggy
3.
Dog. I feel like I haven't
Shaggy
seen enough of his
Dog
movies.
sucked ass.
That sounds bad. That sounds bad.
He gets bitten by a dog that was actually a monk from the Himalayas, and the energy, the chi from the dog transfers into him,
Oh, nice.
and anytime his heart rate gets too accelerated, he turns into a mutt.
What are you talking
Well,
about?
you
That
won't
sounds
like me when I'm
Citizen
angry.
Kane, man.
It is okay. Here's the worst part. Curtis from Santa Claus 2 is his son, and his arch nemesis is Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't Robert Downey Jr. in that?
Wow.
Robert Downey Jr. is the bad guy in that movie. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Weird.
This was before Iron Man, and he like, oh, this is like baby RDJ, like really really young Robert Downey Jr. Like, oh my gosh. But on that note, in my opinion, and maybe this is just because I laugh at it every year, maybe because I find it so wholesome, maybe because it's got a great cast, I don't know, but in my opinion, his best movie is the 1994 film The Santa Claus.
I
love
still
this
have
man.
yet to see it.
It is like
I saw
a
the first
Christ-
part of it with you guys.
It is a
and that's
Christmas classic with me. I have to watch it every year because I get so many laughs. Like, it's right up there, top tier with like Christmas Vacation and Elf, and like it's like
I
upper
agree.
echelon Christmas movies for me.
I agree. That's
I
probably
haven't
my
seen
third.
Christmas Vacation either, but I have seen Elf.
Oh, we just
What?
okay. So my wife and I just started watching the vacation movies, and the first Vacation is pretty good. I think it was funny. The Christmas Vacation wasn't as good to me.
Here's the thing.
I
Don't
can
watch
understand why.
Vegas Vacation. That's a bad movie.
Yeah, I heard that.
It
was
sounds
pretty
like a bad movie.
Noted.
It's real bad. And
But,
it's.
Is it as bad as Zombies though?
I don't know. I think
Come on,
I think
the other
Zombies,
Zoom
come
we
on.
forgot
Look,
about.
Zombies knows what it is. It realizes that this is bad. This is really bad.
Oh, I
We're just
have
gonna
to watch
run
that
with
movie.
this. Like Vegas Vacation is trying to be a good movie, but it's
It
just
tries-
so awkwardly bad.
It tries too hard. That's the problem. I can't stand movies that try too hard. Like
Do you know why Zombies? It seems like Jurassic Park, poorly done Jurassic Park with zombie animals, is because that was literally the pitch. Somebody sat down and was
yes.
Well, it was around when Jurassic World came out, wasn't it?
It was their response to Jurassic World. Like Jurassic World came out, they saw the plot to it, and then like 2 months later they started filming Zombies or something like
Oh my
that.
God.
Like
the director was like, I can do that.
It's-
I can
it's a-
do that.
no, it's a literal spoof, and they do that with all kinds of movies. Like that production company is the same company that did the Sharknado movies.
Yeah, The Asylum.
Yeah.
You want to be in an asylum after you're done watching the movies.
That's the thing. You belong in an asylum after watching them. Like that is some bottom tier movie watching for me, and I love it.
I was just thinking Kifo, poor Kifo.
Okay, but
Constantly
real
switching
talk.
between a CGI gorilla and a guy in a suit.
Okay, real talk though. That one of the best scenes in the whole movie is the implied violence that happens where the girl beats the crap out of the koala.
I thought you were gonna say the best scene was the credits.
That's the second best scene. Third best scene is the zipline scene where the football player just somehow magically loses his grip and then splats on the floor.
Okay, for those who don't know, have never seen Zombies. So you guys who are lucky enough to avoid this movie, there is a scene. The movie is it's in a zoo that gets taken over by a zombie virus and all the animals turn into zombies. Okay, you get the idea. So, but what happens is there is is it a koala named Kifu that everyone?
No. It's that's a gorilla.
Oh, it's a gorilla. But there's a moment when the koalas break into where the little girl is.
Mm-hmm.
And the little girl, it cuts to her being menaced by the koala.
Okay, but it sets it up though, because early in the film, before all hell breaks loose, the mom's having trouble with her swipe card getting access to the office room. So like she's having trouble like swiping the card, punching in the code, get in the door. Now when stuff is going wrong, she's trying to swipe her card and it's not letting her in. Yeah. So now the girl is trapped in the room with a zombified animal, and it's all like, oh no, how is she going to get in? The problem is it's like a softball plot device. It's like so out there and so easy to grasp that it's like when it happened early in the film where she was having trouble with the card, I was like, oh yeah, that's going to come back to bite you in the ass later, honey. And guess what? It did. So...
But the next scene is the little girl. She finally gets into the room, realizes that the little girl survived, but is now covered in koala blood, and the koala is dead because the little girl beat the koala to death. And it's very gruesome, but also very stupid.
It is stupid. It is stupid, but that's what makes it so great. I love that it's so stupid. I love how stupid it is. Oh my gosh. I've got Zombies 2 that I still need to get around to watching. But if I get around to watching that, I feel like I need to do another commentary like the one that I did for Steven. Just let everybody get gassed with me while I'm watching it.
We need to do this. We need to do this.
That was a ride.
Yeah.
And then I'll sync up.
I will be there.
Man.
We'll have needed to see in Zombies 1 first, but...
If only it was on Netflix, then we could do a Netflix party. And we just all watch it together. I'll get on Zoom and I'll do a Netflix party together.
No, it's coming to
Does
Disney
that
Plus.
work over regions?
I think it's on Tubi, maybe, but I don't know if it depends on like the area or whatever.
It probably depends on the region.
I have VPN.
Because we've got, Amazon US has it on Prime. And honestly, that's where I'm finding most of my terrible movies is on Prime right now. Like, I saw one that is actually kind of weird considering the stuff that's going on in California and Oregon right now. It's about like a fault line in California breaking open and lava getting everywhere. And when it does that, it actually releases these giant tarantulas made out of lava as well, and they wreak havoc on LA.
What the fuck?
Yeah. The movie
Sorry.
The movie is called Lavalantula.
I love it. That gives Velocipaster a run for its money in terms of time.
Nothing comes close. Okay, no, wait. There's a movie that came out about 8 years ago that actually, in my opinion, might be worse than Velocipaster. It's a movie called Birdemic.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this.
Oh no.
It's what's stupid is, according to my friends who've watched it, it takes like 45 to 50 minutes out of this hour-and-a-half movie before you even recognize that there is a birdemic happening. Like, it's a rom-com dramedy type thing for like the first 2/3 of the film. And then after you've gotten emotionally attached to the characters, that's when like all hell starts to break loose. But the problem is these animated birds fly in sequence. Like, they flap their wings like this. All 6 or 8 of them that are on the screen. Like, you can tell that they were like motion drawn almost. Like, the animation is just
baseline CG birds.
Yeah, it's just super, super basic. And the heroes are backed up against a minivan and fighting off these animated birds that are flapping their wings like this with coat hangers.
What?
Yes.
We're still talking about zombies.
No, we're talking about a movie called Birdemic.
Oh,
Excuse me, but what's a coat hanger, really?
It's the thing that you put your clothing on in the closet.
Like a wire, piece of wire.
Yeah, it's basically just a triangle-shaped piece of wire, and they're waving it.
Yeah.
They're waving it at
like wire coat hangers are very like out of style now.
That for me.
Yeah, and that's like apparently the weapon they had to fight off these infected birds. It was so stupid. Claire in the chat on Facebook Live says, that sounds horrid. You are damn right. And we've gotten a couple of congratulatory messages on channel1138.com. Our friend Francisco in Lima, Peru is actually doing schoolwork with classmates, so he can't hop on right now. But he sends his congrats. And Darth Vigorous listening in says, congrats, boys, on 300. Also, a few minutes ago said, Trolls 2 is an excellent bad movie. I feel like Trolls 2 is one of those movies that is unintentionally bad, though. Like, I feel like Trolls 2 tried to be good and just turned out bad. Much like one of my other horrid picks, Home on the Range.
Oh.
Wait, so are we talking about DreamWorks Trolls or like the 80s movies?
Okay, that's a good point.
The 80s ones.
That's a good point. It could be the one from the 80s. That is a very good point. I hadn't considered that. Because you've got those and you've got the Leprechaun movies that are also terrible.
Warwick Davis's performance is somewhat entertaining, but they are really bad.
Granted, Warwick Davis was the best part of those films, but that doesn't say much because those films were terrible. Oh my god!
Isn't it weird how Jennifer Aniston was in the first one? Like that was like even before Friends.
Okay, I can one up you on like seeing Friends characters out of context. I just watched the Seinfeld episode that had Courtney Cox in it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a bunch of times.
Oh my gosh, my mind was blown. I was like, what is Monica doing dating Jerry?
And isn't she Jerry's wife? I think
wife.
Yeah.
So she can get a dry cleaning discount. Yes. Oh my gosh. That was a mind bleep. I was like, what is going on? Because she had like the season 1 Monica haircut and everything. And I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And apparently that episode aired in March of 94. And the pilot episode of Friends ran in September of 94.
Wow.
So this was like right before she hit her stride as Monica Geller.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, we even saw Daphne from Frasier on Seinfeld shortly before Frasier
The Virgin,
started.
yes.
Yeah,
She was a virgin. I remember that. And Jerry was like really weirded out by it. Yes. Okay.
How are you a virgin?
The first couple of seasons, I will admit it was hard to get into it. But now in like seasons 4 and 5, I feel like it's really hitting its stride as far as like interweaving the storylines just a little bit, but not so much that you can't just pop into one episode, watch it, and be done. Yeah, that is
I feel like it hits a nice groove in those middle seasons. I think later seasons it starts to kind of drift off. At least for me. I like the earlier seasons and the mid seasons.
I think seasons 8 and 9 get kind of cartoony, but are still enjoyable.
Yeah. In my opinion, the best episode of Seinfeld that I have seen so far is the episode where George has to pretend that he's a marine biologist.
The end of that,
my friend.
End of that with him describing going out to get the whale.
Yes,
is genuinely incredible. It's like an incredible speech.
It's a great monologue. It's a fantastic monologue, and the fact that they were able to integrate Kramer hitting the golf balls out to sea,
got stuck in the blowhole,
and it got stuck in the blowhole. There was like literally no detail missed in that episode.
He was angry that day.
It was
Star Trek that day, my friend.
That was some amazing storytelling.
Yeah.
Like
that one. That one is one of my favorites. Another one of my absolute favorites, if not my favorite, is the jacket episode where
with Joe Mayo.
Well, where Jerry buys a jacket. And it's a.
Is this the one with Elaine's dad?
Yes.
The striped inner stripes on the.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hilarious episode, but like he won't tell how much he paid for that jacket. And Jordan's like, I'm walking out of here without knowing how much you paid for that jacket.
He won't say anything. If you don't say anything in the next 5 seconds, it's over $10,000. Oh my God!
You're sick. You're sick, man.
yeah. But the whole sequence where they're trying to have an awkward conversation with Elaine's dad, it makes me laugh so hard every time. Like they go off to the bathroom and just all the dialogue is perfect, all the awkwardness is perfect. He plays her dad perfectly, just this like gruff, awkward guy who's tough to have a conversation with, and you stepping on eggshells, with everything you say. It's perfect. I love it.
Wow.
Hey, Matias, I'm curious, what is your favorite sitcom? We've been talking a lot about different like comedy shows, but what would you say is your favorite and why?
Okay. See, the problem is I haven't seen enough of those either, but I have a few. Let me think. Okay. Sorry for being this way, but
no, I mean, hey, dude, you're up with us at 5 a.m. Like,
take all the time you need. Seriously,
we're just excited to have you. Honestly, like,
okay.
Like, if I got asked that question at 5 a.m, I'd have a hard time coming up with something.
Yeah, especially if you're like me, who haven't seen that many.
Okay, so that brings up an interesting question, though. Like, if you haven't seen a whole lot of those types of shows, what ones are you most drawn to and why? Like, what type of shows do you end up watching the most of?
Right now we've started on Community. We're gonna watch more of it, but other shows are in the way as usual.
What kind of shows? Like, what's on your watch list right now?
Well, early yesterday by now, we watched 24.
Okay.
The Jack Bauer series.
Yeah,
classic.
And my dad and I are also watching Falling Skies.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, I used
Steven
to watch that,
Spielberg.
but then I fell behind.
I think Steven Spielberg produced that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a producer. It's kind of, for those who haven't seen it, it's kind of Walking Dead, but aliens.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
In feeling, not quality, in feeling.
Oh, I'm intrigued because I liked the premise of the Walking Dead. I feel like it went on way too long. Like, it's coming up on its 11th season.
Hey, season 9 brought
season.
it back to full form, okay?
If you say so. I didn't get past season 6. Like,
And the comic series has like the best comic book series ending I've ever read. It brought me to tears.
Season
7. Crazy. But I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the premise of it, and I love alien shows. So that sounds like something that'll be right up my alley. I'm gonna try that. And then I think there's an Amazon series called The Expanse.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
that's on my list too.
Thomas Jane?
Yeah.
Is the guy
is that a thing? What's the?
Yeah, I think it's based on a book, but I've never seen it.
I've heard a lot of good things about The Expanse.
I think my dad's watching it, and he had some good things to say about it, but I just hadn't gotten around to it because, like Matias said, other shows kind of get in the way. So, he's watching The Expanse. The premise of The Expanse sounds actually really cool. Like, there are these like independents that live on Mars that are trying to break free from the solar system coalition, and there's these people that live in the asteroid belt that are called belters. And the hottest commodity in the solar system is water. And there's a ton of ice in the asteroid belt. So whoever controls the biggest asteroid belts or asteroids in the belt has like the front row seating to some of the highest profit margins in the solar system. And so there's like some people on Mars that are trying to get some competition for it. There's people in the asteroid belt that are like trying to become like their own colony or something like that. So there's just a lot of political tension in the solar system. And I can't help but think that, maybe something like this was similar to how Star Trek got started. We got a little taste of that with Star Trek Enterprise, but I can't help but wonder if some of the colonization and stuff that happened before Lightspeed was at its peak was similar to this, where it's like there's a lot of tension going on in our solar system, and we don't deserve to go exploring until we take care of matters at home first.
Yeah, and like fighting over water and stuff like that sounds like Mad Max in space.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that too.
Like fight just like the basic like necessities that we take for granted. Like in the future, it's like, oh yeah, water is like a huge thing that people will fight wars over.
But it makes sense. Like when you thought it, eventually you're going to have all the metals you need. You can just recycle them and reconstruct them into whatever you need. Air is not really something that can or should be purchased. So like unless you are trading sexual favors or something like that, like no, honestly, like that's a thing. Like that's a thing right now. People are trading those types of favors for a few bucks so they can have a meal. Like that's a thing.
Yeah,
there's OnlyFans, guys. Okay. OnlyFans.
Oh man, don't even get me started on that. Don't even get me started on what Bella Thorne has done to that industry. Oh my gosh, I'm not even.
Did you ever watch that show on? I think it's on Disney, or it used to be on Disney Channel, called Shake It Up. It had the main two characters are Bella Thorne and Zendaya.
Zendaya, yeah.
Really?
That's where they got to start.
To see where they went career wise is very fascinating.
Yeah, that's like one of Zendaya's first roles, and I think Bella Thorne's first roles. Like that was their breakout, like putting them on the map.
Yeah, I feel like Zendaya's in everything now.
She is in everything. Yeah. She's like one of the biggest actors now. Yeah. Like she's in Dune. She's in Spider-Man.
And she's in Dune.
Yep, the greatest.
I sat behind her in a plane a few months ago, and I didn't blow her cover, so.
The closest thing to fame that I can claim is brushing shoulders at Comic-Con with Sean Astin and interviewing Terry Farrell from Star Trek and Becker, and what was it? Getting a selfie with now flopped out YouTuber iJustine.
Oh yeah, on the plane, right? When she gave out the DSs.
When she gave out the Nintendo 3DS XLs on my way to go see Rogue One. Yeah,
I remember getting that text from you. We were at the Chinese theater. We're waiting on you to show up. Your plane's coming in. You text us and go, "Holy crap, guys!" So I'm in the plane, and iJustine just walked in, and now we're all getting Nintendo 3DSs. And we're like, wow, Zach is just like, he just landed, and his stuff's just falling into his lap.
Baller status. That was a great weekend, and that was a great way to start that weekend.
That's awesome.
I think I have a cool old famous person that I also can talk about. Not Peter Mayo, but the one that's under
Jonas.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Jonas Tomo. See, that's a name. That's a name I can.
Yeah. See, he was in Norway, in Oslo, for promoting his solo, and the Norwegian started Facebook at the time a contest for those who asked the best questions to actually go meet him. And I was one of the 2 guys to actually got to meet him, and
that's awesome.
That was insane. He was such a nice person.
A really tall, nice person.
Yeah. And I got an autograph, the poster of Solo, and also I got them to autograph my copy of Star Wars Last Shots.
That's so cool.
Nice.
Oh wow,
that's perfect.
That's awesome. I remember one of my favorite memories of meeting more or less a celebrity was when we were at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim, and we went back to Steven Stanton's hotel room, and I think it was you, Ben. It was you, me. I think you were there.
Yeah,
all the people.
Yeah, Chris and Dominic and them, and we just hung out and
with nothing to do.
Yeah, that was just a lot of fun.
Zach, you've met Steven Stanton, right?
Yeah.
He came to Texas, right?
I met him at Addison Alcon about 6 years ago. But I also met him when he was at the premiere for Rogue One.
Oh, yeah, of course, you were there too.
I got a picture. I got a picture with him outside of Rogue One. The thing is, I got the selfie with him before we went into the movie, and then when we came out of the movie, I was like, I got a selfie with Radis.
See, that was the crazy thing is just like he's hanging out with us outside the theater, and we're like, oh yeah, Tarkin, and he's like, well, we'll see, wink, 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 and he's like trying to keep it on the down low. He's not playing Tarkin, but he actually is playing like a huge character in the movie.
A pretty big character, yeah.
And it's just that.
And my favorite characters in the movie.
Radis is better than Akbar.
Oh, that's a hot take. That's a hot take, but it's not one I can really disagree with. I mean, like,
badass.
Like, okay, if we're really thinking about it, Akbar didn't really do much in Return of the Jedi.
Agreed.
He said it's a trap. Congratulations.
Like he recognized basic military strategy that ended up getting hella memed. But as far like he disagreed with Lando's tactics about moving closer to the Star Destroyers at point blank range, and he like was preparing to retreat before they got cut off.
Yeah, Radis wouldn't have done that.
Like he was following basic military strategy. Like, yeah, you're outnumbered. Yeah, you retreat. Duh. But like, as far as some kind of like maneuver that actually helped ensure the victory, Radis did way more than Akbar did. Like he called in the Hammerhead corvettes that helped, cause an opening that helped seal the victory. Like he made the tough calls. He made the tough choices. He left the Rogue Squadron down on Scarif in order to help the mission succeed. Like that guy knew what to do and was willing to risk everything for the cause. I respect the hell out of that.
Okay, here's one point. Here's 1 point for Radis and automatically against Akbar. Akbar was on a ship named after Radis.
Yes.
So
he died there.
Come on, like Radis was a legend. He had an entire ship named after him. And Akbar.
Well, I mean, Akbar had some stories and legends as well, so he's also a legend.
Technically speaking, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't like Akbar, and I don't like his ending, but I agree. Radis is a better character.
He died
overall.
His ending was.
I like the joke that someone said that Akbar died as he lived in the background.
Ouch. Ouch.
I mean, Radis died as well. Yeah. They both became seafood.
We don't know if Radis is dead or not.
We do. They confirmed in the Marvel
not entirely
comics.
wrong, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like they confirmed that Radis died at Scarif.
Didn't also Pablo Hidalgo confirm it in tweets?
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Oh,
back when we all weren't blocked by him. Now everyone's blocked by Pablo. We can't. He tried to get on this call earlier, by the way, but we didn't let him.
Wrong Pablo.
Celebration Orlando, I was able to pick him out of a crowd while he was like, he had his head down. He was like trying to make his way across, and I was like, "Hey, Pablo, can I get a picture?"
You see Pablo everywhere at Celebration. You're just like, "Oh, hey, there's Pablo. There's Pablo. There's Pablo."
Okay. This is going to be a little bit of a sidetrack, but I feel like this was good for the conversation because whenever I hear somebody saying Pablo, I instinctively think Sanchez.
Pablo Sanchez.
Is that anyone specific? Or is it just
from Napoleon Dynamite.
No. Wow. Okay, I am talking to the wrong crowd here.
His name isn't Pablo.
Probably, yeah.
That would have killed amongst my sports friends. Yeah, I'm just saying. Because backyard sports, backyard football, backyard baseball.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, you're right.
Pablo Sanchez, the tiny little Puerto Rican kid with the hat that flips to the back. He's everybody's first pick when you're playing backyard sports because he is like one of the best players that you could draft. Like every time you're playing against somebody else, you're like flipping the coin so that you get Pablo Sanchez first. Everybody else is just filler.
I played backyard baseball a lot.
I've never even heard of this game.
Okay, so what they did was they would take these characters that they had generated, that they did, and they were names like Pablo Sanchez and Dmitry Petrovich and Keisha Phillips, some kids that had different body types, and that gave them different abilities, and sometimes they were better at first base, or they were better at wide receiver or something like that, depending on the game, depending on whatever. And then they also took professional players and made them in the same animation style so that you could play with like a kid version of Brett Favre, a kid version of Donovan McNabb, a kid version of Albert Pujols, or somebody like that. Like different professional athletes had their likeness transformed into like a kid version, and then you would draft them and some of the backyard kids onto your team, and you would play backyard baseball, backyard football games. You'd play by the rules of baseball, but there were different stadiums that were designed to look like the side parking lot or the backyard of somebody's house. Yeah. So like one backyard baseball arena that you could play at, I think it was called the Del Vecchio's house, which was one of the kids, Tony Del Vecchio. And if you hit a home run to left field, you actually could shatter the window of the house that was out there in left field.
Wow.
And it was really funny because you would like try and time your swing in such a way that when you hit the ball, it goes to left field so that you could like watch the windows shatter. And then like you could play in some football games would be on a field made out of sand because you're playing at the beach. And so everybody ran slower because they're running in sand. So you had to like adjust your play style to the environment that you were in based on what field you were playing on. So there was a little bit of strategy involved, but it was also just like a ton of fun. Like you weren't really playing baseball for the sake of winning the baseball game. You were doing it just to have fun playing baseball. Yeah. And like every time you would play a game, like I guarantee you ask other sports fans, if you're playing a backyard football, backyard baseball, your first draft pick was always Pablo Sanchez.
That's amazing. That's amazing that I've never heard of this game in my entire life.
I played it a lot when I was a kid. The Backyard Football 2002 was my jam.
Wow.
The 2004 version wasn't as fun. I played Backyard Baseball 2008 on my PS2 for a bit, but after a while it just started to evolve a lot, and it for some reason wasn't as fun. I think the pixelated versions of the games were actually the more fun ones to play for whatever reason.
My jam was Space Jam.
Yes, sir. Okay, has everybody seen the new uniforms for Space Jam 2?
Yeah,
I've seen this, I think, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Not sure I have.
Oh my gosh. Like they did a promo, like LeBron James's marketing group did a promo video of him in the new jersey, and he's just walking out in it. And it kind of looks like an ocean sunset threw up on his jersey.
I like it.
There's a lot of teal up in the chest area, and then over to the side is like a half circle of oranges and yellows that looks like the Looney Tunes logo, but it also kind of looks like a sunset against. Yeah, that's
there
it.
You go.
That's
there
it.
You go.
That's the one. But you see what you see? Did I describe that fairly accurately?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it now. It's
for
pretty weird.
Okay, Jake, you're the graphic artist. You're the designer amongst us. That's the original Toon Squad jersey with Michael Jordan, and then the one we just saw was the one with LeBron James. Which one do you prefer and why?
I prefer. It's weird because I love the bright colors of the new one. I love the bright colors. I love the how the circles are blown up. You know, I love the Nike logo in the yellow versus the teal behind it. It really works for me, and I prefer that one, I think. But there is something I like about the classic old one too. Like that one is a bit more iconic just because I remember that one.
I actually have that jersey. I found it on eBay from China before Corona happened.
That's cool.
I got a Michael Jordan Toon Squad jersey.
How much did it cost?
For myself? I want to say about $60 US, maybe 70.
Oh.
It wasn't too bad. Like other professional jerseys can be a lot more.
Yeah.
You're telling me you paid $1,000 for that jersey?
I was looking at like a Aaron Rodgers Packers jersey on NFL Shop one time, and it was like $300 US or something like that. So like this wasn't quite as bad, but I got that for myself, and then I got a Bugs Bunny one for my brother so that we'd be Twinkies.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
cool.
Full confession here. I'm going to confess.
Yeah, I haven't seen Space Jam.
Never seen Space Jam. Haven't seen it.
Oh.
Why? Like
I know I'm a 90s kid. This is right
I'm
up
not
my
even
alley.
mad. I'm just confused. Like,
I am
why?
too. I am
Ben.
too.
Ben,
Yeah.
what do you have against people using cartoons to shove advertising down your throat?
It's okay. For me.
I love
It's
product
back in
placement.
action is better.
I love product placement.
I
Oh,
haven't seen Looney Tunes back in action. And
I didn't like
so
Back in
good.
Action that much.
it's got Steve Martin as the villain.
I
Yeah,
can
the
get that.
Pink Panther guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have seen that. Ridiculously so. I have actually seen the Steve Martin Pink Panther.
He's more than just the Pink Panther.
Have you seen the old ones? They're
The
awesome.
old cartoon ones are so fun to watch. They are so crazy how you don't need any words spoken at all. Like Pink Panther and Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, two of some of the best unspoken cartoons you'll ever watch.
I specifically like the
Tom and Jerry.
I don't know which one it is, whatever the Peter Sellers Pink Panther movies. It cracks me up like because what's his butler or something is like trying to kill him the entire time. So every time he comes home, it just turns into like this knockdown, drag out fight, and he's fighting for his life. It's ridiculous.
Now get there.
Yeah, I haven't seen those.
You have to see those. They're amazing.
Why haven't you seen those? Why haven't you seen them? I'm gonna be that guy. All right, I'm gonna be that guy.
Those are 5 amazing movies. More 4 because the 5th one is actually more the best of, but it's fun too.
Yeah, I mean, I've been aware of them for a while. I just haven't seen them.
You want to see a good Steve Martin movie? I mean, there's lots, but
I was about to say those exist.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh,
You ever see that?
isn't that good?
Let me
No,
guess.
I've heard of it though.
Let me guess. That movie is about the booming stereo industry while also telling a subplot about watermelons. And somewhere in there, you're also going fly fishing.
Are you reading the Wikipedia article
this-
on it?
Remarkably
Wow,
close.
just nailed it. Nailed it.
Like I
No.
mean, the title just kind of gives it away that those are the 3 key elements of the film.
Here's the thing about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. There is a moment in the movie where Steve Martin freaking loses his mind at the airport.
It's hilarious. The only reason
And
this movie's rated R, by the way.
Yeah, because he goes, I'll start with the effing this and the effing that. He drops about 15 F-bombs in about a minute. And
Yes.
look, I have very conservative parents. They don't really like language, a lot of things. I watched this movie with them.
Okay,
This
I
is what,
had
look,
that.
here's the thing. This is one of their favorite movies of all time, but it gets real awkward when that scene comes up because I'm like, what?
I've had that encounter before as well. Going back to our vacation movies conversation, there is a tangent similar to that in Christmas Vacation, where Chevy Chase is just at the end of his rope and having a horrible Christmas.
Very much the same.
And he's like, we're going to press on and we're going to have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap dance with Danny K. And when Santa slides his fat ass down that chimney, he's going to find the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house. And I'm like, what?
Yep.
What did you just say, Chevy Chase? And my parents were laughing at it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I like Steve Martin, but do you know who I think is one of my favorite comedic actors from that time period, who sadly is not with us anymore? John Candy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
he's a legend.
He played the other lead in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and he was in a lot of John Hughes movies. But the other day, my wife and I watched for the very first time Uncle Buck. Have you seen that?
That's an amazing movie.
I don't know if I have.
Loved it.
That's a good one.
Steven, you're talking about that.
Steven, where did your electricity go?
Oh, sorry. I went outside to take out the trash.
Scary. That's scary.
It's just your face. This is like the outline of your face. And the beard doesn't help because it's like the bottom half of your face just disappears into the darkness. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good thing we're capturing this on video.
Right?
But yeah.
It's like Halloween when you're telling all those scary stories.
Let me tell you a tale.
Here's a list of great John Candy movies that you need to watch. You need to watch Uncle Buck. You need to watch Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. Cool Runnings is incredible. What's the other one? He's in Blues Brothers, actually. He's in a bunch of different movies.
Oh, Blues Brothers is hilarious.
He's actually in the first Vacation movie briefly.
You're right, he is. He's the guy at what is it? Wally World.
Wally World.
Sorry, folks, the store's closed. And then there's.
I'll try to watch more with him.
There's a bunch. There's so many.
Yeah.
Okay, why has nobody mentioned his actual best movie though? Spaceballs.
I see. I
because
always
Spaceballs is overrated.
I
agree a little bit on that.
I'm going to hang up on you.
Not a huge fan of Spaceballs.
I don't know. It doesn't make me laugh out loud at all.
No.
And it's like after you see it once, it's like it doesn't really have rewatch value for me.
It just isn't my type of humor. I get that it's a spoof. I love Rick Moranis. I love John Candy, but there's something about it that doesn't hit right for me. And I watched it 3 times probably, and I just never.
I like it a lot. It's extremely funny, but it's not a movie that I'll go back to.
Yeah.
I agree on Ben.
Zach's mind is
and Zach is just like, what?
Yeah, I think Mel Brooks' type of humor just doesn't do it for me. I've tried a couple other of his movies, but they just, I can't get into them.
Young Frankenstein, I kind of really like that. It made me laugh.
I was kind of annoyed by that one.
See, really? Young Frankenstein is one that, I watched recently, past couple years, and I remember it being extremely funny, and it is funny at parts, but I'm like, it wasn't as funny as I remembered it.
Yeah, I love Gene Wilder, and that was the first time I'd seen him in anything other than Willy Wonka, which that's my favorite Gene Wilder role by far. I love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. One of my favorite movies of all time, actually. But the minute in there he turns around and says Frankenstein, I laughed so hard. I don't know why, but it's just that reaction was hilarious. But yeah, Mel Brooks, I don't know why his kind of humor just never really did it for me.
I don't know if it was necessarily Mel Brooks that got to me so much as it was the idea that somebody would spoof Star Wars. And B, all of the language and stuff was in it was stuff that I watched when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
And I was just getting exposed to that vernacular. And so seeing the guy with the little pick out in the desert trying to comb the desert literally, and they're
we ain't found
And then to find out that he later plays the very serene Vulcan Tuvok on Star Trek Voyager.
What? It's the same guy?
Is the same guy. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's some very meta Star Trek humor going on right now with like some captions and stuff where they take like screen grabs of stuff and they caption it differently to make it seem like there's a different conversation going on. And one of them involved like Tuvok going on some sort of a mission. Excuse me. And at the end, the final panel was actually Tuvok saying, "We ain't found shit." And that was like a callback to Spaceballs. And I was awesome. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But that scene and the surrounded by assholes scene, like that got me as a teenager. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's true. This is my life. I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Like, did you see the commercial, the new commercial with Rick Moranis that just came out?
No, I didn't.
Back.
No,
He's back.
Rick
Moranis is back, baby.
Go check it out. It's only like
yet.
Yeah.
I like the joke where they had the meta joke when they
that's my favorite
get the
scene.
video file for the movie.
Looking at the video, looking back to now. Now we miss it. When? Just now.
Yeah.
There's
That's
so
funny.
many like spot
That
on
could've been
like
a
great
Deadpool.
jokes like that.
Yeah.
Or my personal favorite is, "You idiots! You capture the stunt doubles." Because you're the entire team, like, something's not right about that. Doesn't look like John Candy. That's something different.
I love how we're discovering that actually Spaceballs is awesome.
See, it's like hearing Ben describe the funniest moments is great, but then watching the actual movie is kind of a slog for me.
I tell you what, okay, there is one scene or one part of it that turns me off, and it's Pizza the Hut.
Oh, disgusting.
He is so disgusting. And on top of that, you have his like major domo guy is sitting there eating him. It just grosses me out. I can't handle it.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
but you've got to admit that Jabba's Kowakian monkey lizard must have taken a munch by mistake at one point or another.
I mean, there is that big gash on Jabba's tail. I mean,
Just saying. Just saying. It's entirely possible. I think Pizza the Hut was one that was probably hit and miss, but I didn't think that all of the humor was hit and miss. Like, golly, like I thought I was gonna spark like this really fun, awesome conversation about a really whimsical music like movie, and then like everybody just collapsed on me like, "Shut up, Zach!" And I had this like John Mulaney moment where it's like, "No, that movie sucks. You need to go to hell," and I was like, "Okay."
I feel like humor kind of transforms and people's tastes in humor transforms over time just culturally, and I think that when that movie came out and when most of Mel Brooks movies came out, it was just at a time period where that humor worked best.
Okay, that is very true. And on a similar topic, in a similar vein, I know a lot of people. Oh, the doggo!
Hey, dog!
Oh!
Steven's transformed into a dog.
That's not fair, Steven. You knew that was going to happen, and you did it anyway, you son of a bitch.
Sorry.
Distraction. Now you just threw out the whole podcast.
Humor, and in the context of culture, it definitely evolves. Because in a similar vein to how that happened with the Mel Brooks films of the 80s and the 90s, I feel like that was also very true of a particular comedy that was in the US that was super popular, that a lot of people still laugh at, and whenever I watch it, it makes me cringe up every episode without fail.
No.
Anybody ever see All in the Family?
No, but I've heard of it.
Enough of it.
Oh my gosh. Like it's
Archie Bunker is a character.
I don't even have the words to describe how cringe that show is now. Like he's very outspoken about his thoughts and beliefs, and they are very not in keeping with how things are now.
Nope.
And so
politically incorrect.
When you
so they're like big yikes.
They're very bigoted comments. They're very thoughtless comments. They're very like they attack. Like there, a lot of his stuff, he goes on the offensive instead of the defensive, and like whenever somebody makes like an actual legit point, he just like shoots them down about their hair or their body or something like that. It's bad. Like, okay,
hashtag cancel All in the Family.
Well, the cringiest part is the stupid opening song.
That too.
It's awful.
I'm not even sure if I've heard the opening song.
It's the two of them sitting down at a piano, and what's really stupid is that's probably the most amicable the two of them are in the whole damn show. Because he gets very hostile towards his wife, and she gets very nasally and annoying like every episode. And for some reason, the two of them in harmony, it works.
Is there implied domestic violence?
I don't know if it's implied domestic violence so much as the whole man's home is his castle type of mentality. Like she's very much the housewife, the homemaker, and he's the breadwinner. And whenever he comes home, he sits down in his chair, pops on the TV, cracks open a beer, and doesn't do crap for the whole episode except talk crap to other people.
And at some point, I've never actually seen these episodes, but at one point, All in the Family crosses over with the Jeffersons.
Yep.
The Jeffersons go to the All in the Family house, and I can only assume there's some racist stuff in there.
There's one episode where they get Sammy Davis Jr. to guest star on the show.
Wow.
And he sits down in the living room and has a conversation with him. And the only reason I remember this is because I watched like this funniest moments of the previous century video cassette when I was younger. And it had a sequence from this where he's sitting down with him talking like, I don't mean no disrespect, but if God wanted us to be together, he would have put us together. But look what he did. He put you in Africa and put the rest of us in all the white countries.
What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How is that real?
Yeah.
Big yikes.
Yeah.
This was on national television.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
At the end,
what years would this have been on?
I want to say the 70s.
Okay.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, 71 to
71 to 79. Buy me a Coke.
With that being said, Sammy Davis Jr. did get the last laugh because there was a neighbor kid that wanted to get a picture of Sammy Davis Jr. as like proof that he was actually there. And Sammy was like, well, only if you get it with my friend Archie Bunker. Like he like puts his arm around his shoulder and he's like, all right, now I'm ready for the picture, Lionel. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. When he hits 3 and the shutter snaps, he leans over and plants a big one on Archie's cheek. And there's photographic evidence of a black guy kissing Archie Bunker.
That's good.
So he got the last laugh, but oh my goodness. That was a ridiculous episode that I do not care to put myself through ever again.
So humor like that obviously ages poorly, but it's interesting to see different types of humor because I can watch like the Andy Griffith Show and Don Knotts makes me laugh no matter what. Like, I love Don Knotts. And he was around back then, you know, like, I don't know if you guys have seen The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. Or, you know, that's one of my absolute favorites. But
it's like, a mad world.
Yeah.
Don Knotts is hilarious in that.
Don Knotts, the Apple Dumpling Gang, he just laugh. And it's like, why does that age well? You know, like, I can watch it today and laugh my head off.
Because it doesn't get political.
Yeah,
the Andy Griffith Show is more about family. It's more about communication, compassion, understanding. It doesn't really deal with racial prejudices that much. It doesn't really deal with like girls getting molested or anything like that. Like they don't address like really tough issues. They just look at, you know, romantic stuff like you know, Andy's love life and who he's dating. They look at the weirdos in Main Street and the crazy stuff that they're doing. Like it's about day in the life more than it is addressing hot button issues. The
toughest like topics like Andy Griffith like tackles is like, oh yeah, Opie gets accused of burning down a barn, and then Andy is stupid enough to not believe his own son. And even though, like, he repeatedly tells him, like, Dad, I didn't do it. Like, you gotta believe
Paul,
me.
I actually did do it.
And there's a few times where, like, Andy's like out of character because, like, why? Like, you've learned like 10 times by now that Obi would never lie to you. So why are you disbelieving him now?
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing is, like,
he wants to give him the benefit of the doubt.
He does that too, but also his parenting skills are top notch.
They are,
because there's an episode where Ronnie Howard is trying to, like, get his allowance without getting paid for it, and he, like, throws a temper tantrum and holds his breath and
because he's trying to be like that his one friend, right?
Yeah, he's trying to be like his friend. He's like, and Andy's like, "What are you doing?" I'll hold my breath. He goes, right. "Oh, well, that's good for the lungs," and goes back to work.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Hey," he's on the floor, and he's like, "What are you doing now?" And he's like, "I'm throwing a tantrum." And he's like, "Oh, well, don't get your clothes dirty." Goes back to work.
Yeah. Remains unaffected.
Top notch parenting.
Yep.
But you think about that show though. It's in the 50s, 60s. It's about a single dad. Like, and it's, I mean, it's interesting because, like, back then it's like, oh yeah, the ideal family, a dad and, not anything else but a man and a woman. And, that's that. And it's just a single dad trying to raise his kid and trying to get a chick on side chick sometimes.
I think Aunt B was the real side chick. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Oh
no,
God.
that's the aunt-in-law. What are you talking about?
I would have been hot for Aunt B. I'm just saying.
I would have been hot for her pie, maybe.
So apparently, behind the scenes drama is that Aunt B and Andy did not get along. They hated each other.
Really?
Oh.
I hate stories like that because then I watch the show now and I'm like, oh, they hate.
And there's one episode where Andy comes in and he's got his hand bandaged up, and he supposedly was, like, fighting these guys and getting them into jail. Apparently, as the story goes, the real story is that Andy punched a wall in real life because Don Knotts, like, got an award that he didn't.
Andy, come on, man.
Wow.
Don Knotts got an award?
Like, Don Knotts got, like, a Emmy nomination and Andy didn't. And
for that show?
Yes, for that show.
Okay.
And Andy punched a wall.
I could see the frustration there because, like, why would the supporting co-star get a nomination?
That's the thing with Andy Griffith's show is Don Knotts totally stole it.
Yes.
Like, you watch, like going back, like, you have, like, Andy Griffith in No Time for Sergeants, which is one of his early movies. He's the goofy guy. But in Andy Griffith's show, he's the straight man, and Don Knotts is the goofy guy, and everybody loved him.
Okay, but in No Time for Sergeants, he's more of a Gomer Pyle than he is Barney Fife.
Right.
I remember that movie. He's basically the pilot for Gomer Pyle USMC.
This is like when Andy from The Office punched the wall.
Oh yeah.
No, different Andy, different office, but probably a circumstance.
Okay, I have to ask, Matias, you've been very quiet here. Do you have any idea what the Andy Griffith Show is? Have you ever seen it?
No.
Well,
I mean, I've never seen
an American classic.
I feel terrible. We went on like
list.
this 15, 20-minute tangent, and here it is almost 6 a.m, and this poor guy has no idea what we're talking about.
Let me put it this way.
It's about I'm having a blast there.
It's about as wholesome of a classic American television show as you could
It's
watch.
the perfect show to watch in 2020 because it's totally devoid of, like, problems. It's just the simple life. It's small town problems, and it's just normal stuff, and it's so heartwarming.
Yep.
And I believe we have someone else about to join us, maybe here. Maybe.
Oh, do we?
We have another.
We got
guest.
more?
Celebrity.
We have more.
There's more helping us with the fun?
Jeff!
It's the right man!
Function!
Fluffy!
What's up, Jeff?
Hype!
It's the fluff!
Hello.
Dude! Thanks for joining
And
us.
then there were 6.
Hey, it's our 300th episode. Of course, we've got to get the most hyped person in Channel 1138 helping us with this celebration, dude. How you doing?
Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Oh, no, the mute monster. Ah!
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There we go.
Finally.
We can hear
Yeah.
It's weird.
Oh, lost him
We
again.
lost him
You're
again.
off again.
It's weird.
Go back.
It's weird. Let's try that again.
You like reached
Not
for
yet.
something and it went off.
Here,
Not
like
yet.
all I'm seeing is like hands, but nothing happening. It's like
Just keep all of this in the show reel.
Oh, this is all. You think I'm editing this? Really?
hashtag release the
Editing
show
this?
reel cut,
Release the hype cut.
We heard you for like 5 seconds there, Jeff. Now you're gone.
and then you cut off again, dude. Like, what are you doing to it?
I'm gonna
And
try and
again-
reverse. You said I don't know.
Okay,
No.
okay. What we need to
somebody
do is
read
we need to
Try to
do
read
the
on,
bad
maybe.
lip reading like seagulls.
Oh, yeah.
Stop it now. Penny for your thoughts. I hate Brenda.
Stop
Kinda-
it now.
Bad guy kicked me in the shin and I peed all over my pants.
My stick is better.
You've transformed into the letter J.
This 300th episode of IPC is brought to you in part by the letter J.
And the number 2 for Jake has drank 2 Coke Zeros.
Oh dear. Oh
Yeah.
dear. That's the equivalent of one Red Bull for me.
Official sponsor.
No, because 0 plus 0 is 0, so it's just 0 Cokes.
Oh, Steven.
Oh.
Math.
Quick maths. Oh man.
It's 0. It's like you open it up, it's an empty can. It's like you got 0 Coke.
Yeah, it's like you get what you paid for.
I know. Wouldn't it be funny if you just like opened it and it was just air?
But
They
since
didn't
I'm
lie to you.
Yes,
since
Matias.
I'm studying to be a librarian, and
Oh, yeah?
I have on the list many shows that I need to watch because as a librarian, as a future librarian, I've begun to think, what made these shows so successful, and what the research that in some of my future years.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
especially the long ones.
Yeah.
So, for example, Friends. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be weird.
Zach, what are your thoughts on this?
On Jeff's technical issues, or Matias becoming a librarian, or Coke
On
Zero. We're
why
kind of
friends-
all over the place with topics right now.
Why
What are your
friends?
thoughts
Remember-
on the My Favorite Martian remake from the 90s?
So
so random.
apparently, I spent a lot of time making show notes that we're not going to use. Apparently,
Oh,
Because this
there's
show
Hey,
show
show
notes?
notes.
1, 2, 3.
Hashtag release the
where
show
have you
notes.
been?
You said you were going to make show notes, but you never sent them to us in the group chat. So I just assumed we were freeballing it the whole show.
No,
Wait,
I
You
did.
did.
I actually
did.
suggested to you, if you were not gonna do this, then I suggested that you should just watch the movie 300. But I'm glad you did this.
That was
instead.
something that we
I haven't
talked
seen-
about like several times, like several times. And then I finally put it to Facebook. And I was like, if you were watching one of your favorite podcasts, I got really conceited. Like, if you were watching your favorite podcast have its 300th episode, how would you want it to celebrate? And actually, our friend Sean over at Phantom Empire just put one word. He said, party. And I got inspired.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Hell yeah. It's a celebration. This is a big deal. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be like a traditional episode. It needs to be something that kind of commemorates everything that IPC represents and stands for, while also embracing the future and what the future might hold. Because I've gotten really warm reception in private messages to the video format. So maybe coming in future episodes, we do more video features on IPC where we just hop on and people actually look at our stupid faces while we're talking.
I personally love the idea of just jumping on
Love
here,
my face.
not doing show notes, not doing any prep, just jumping on and talking with you guys.
Hey,
love it.
that could
I
be
agree.
like
I
a
love
new
it.
thing that we do, because I feel like this conversation's been really fun for one thing.
Yeah.
Like just going all over the place, talking about anything that comes to mind. It's very freewheeling. It's kind of like very free flowing. Jeff says that's literally what my podcasts are. You're right, dude. You're right. But you know, I think there's something to be said about the authenticity of just being able to talk about whatever's on your mind.
Oh, shit.
Like a regular episode of IPC probably would not have conversations about trains, planes, and automobiles, and All in the Family, and the Andy Griffith Show, and the Expanse, and top fives. Like, we've covered a lot already.
As a person who is here at almost 6 a.m. for me.
Right? Right? Like, how often do we have guests from the other side of the world?
Matthias when you got up, it's like, did you stay up late or did you get up early? Like, there's no, it's hard to distinguish that.
Okay. See, I got to sleep, so I have slept for 3 hours, and then
wow.
I got up.
So technically, you got up early.
Yeah, technically I got up early. Yeah,
really, really early.
but I'm gonna have to sleep much earlier later today, or whatever.
Man. Okay, so I got a message from Jeff saying my mic definitely works on my other computer. I'm going to switch. So he will be back. He will be back.
You will hear Jeff before the
Good luck.
We will get to hear back from him. And when we do, maybe we try and play a round of 1, 2, 3 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm game.
I'll go through the rules on how to play it in case anybody.
I'm going to send you guys the show notes that like explains it. Because
Okay.
I did all that.
You actually did the thing.
Oh
yeah.
You mean that one? Okay.
I'm gonna put it in the chat here so you guys can see it, and I'll put it in the public chat because these are designed to be public show notes that you guys can interact with and see, and everybody can be on the board with it. So I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna put it right there.
That chat.
There you
Aha.
go. There it is.
So what's it going to do? Is it going to open this? Oh, in this tab over here. It's like magic. Oh, and you put it in channel1138.com too.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Download the Zoom app. Ha!
Oh,
I didn't even do that, sucker.
I see a bunch of people thing. I see anonymous hyena. I need anonymous giraffe, and I see anonymous squirrel. I don't know which was which, but
I don't know which one I am. I don't care. Top 5 anything. Oh yeah, okay. Let's do a top 5 then while we're waiting on Fluffy. Top 5 drinks.
Okay.
It can be sodas, it can be tea, it can be alcoholic beverages. Your top 5 drinks. Steven, go.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Okay, so should I get specific or does it have to be general?
As long or short as you want it to be. This is your top 5. This is
Okay.
Shinder's list right here, everybody. The Shinder's list
Boy, this
right
is so
now.
much pressure. Okay. Number 5, water. Number 4. Number 4, chocolate milk.
Okay.
Number 3, pink lemonade.
Oh.
Number 2, Pepsi. And number 1, definitely Mountain Dew.
I think I've seen you drink
I
Mountain
love
Dew
that one.
before. I think
I forgot to add alcoholic beverages onto the list, but it's too late now. So
maybe we'll do another top 5 that's just alcoholic beverages because
good point.
that's one that Ben can't play. He doesn't drink.
yeah, I'll just sleep through that.
Jake's top 5 would be
I'll pretend
box
I'm
wine
drunk.
from the corner store, box wine from Walmart, box wine from.
Box wines are us.
Speaking of R us,
I like sparkling grape juice.
Oh man, that was a fun group chat. One time, Jake, just tell the story. Like,
So one time, very, very soon after Toys R Us closed their stores nationwide, my wife and I decided, hey, let's go check out the abandoned Toys R Us in town. So we did, and it was pretty easy to get, like shockingly easy to get in. And we got in, we explored, we found an entire rack of like gift cards that had the serial numbers on them and everything. I did not take any because I I don't think you can without them knowing you stole it, because the purchase record was anyway. It wasn't worth it. But anyway, I went into the bathroom, and everything was still working. The lights were working, the plumbing was working, and I used the bathroom, and I took a picture of my feet and sent it to our group chat, and was like, I'm in an abandoned Toys R Us right now.
No. Well, okay, here's the thing. There's something else that happened there that you did that I haven't talked about. One of the most amazing things I've ever witnessed in my life. And it was the thing where I sent you this long-winded, crazy message when you showed us the gift cards. I'm like, okay, take a gift card, and you must summon the ghost of Jeffrey, not Jeffrey White, the other Jeffrey, the giraffe, because Jeffrey was dead at that point. You have to summon the ghost of Jeffrey. To do that, you have to take a gift card and go swish in the toilet at certain times. You had to say Jeffrey out loud and do all this kind of crazy stuff. And you did it all. You did every bit of it. You have it on video. I don't know where it is, but it's on video.
It was like
it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Crazy ritual to summon this dead giraffe.
I think you actually did summon a demon, because that's where we're in right now, all right?
That's
you did
it.
this.
That's the problem. Jake made 2020 happen.
Why did we arrive at this? What a terrible conclusion to make.
It's Jake's fault that we've got 2020.
Bush did 9/11.
Because he used a gift card in an abandoned Toys R Us toilet to summon the spirit of a deceased fake giraffe. That's why we've got coronavirus, bitch.
I'm serious. I want to find this video now, but I have no idea how, because he videoed all this and sent it to our group chat.
Oh, he sent it to the group chat. I thought he sent it to you personally, because if you go through like your interactions, you can see like photos and videos that you've shared with each other. I don't even know if that group chat exists. I don't even know if that group still exists.
No, I think it's lost with time.
Oh man.
But yeah,
okay.
That was good.
On that note, who remembers Backyard Watch?
I miss Backyard Watch, man.
Oh my gosh. Even Matias, do you all remember Backyard Watch from Channel 1138, the glory days?
I don't think I've ever actually listened to it.
Sorry.
No. Go ahead. I asked you both, and then you both answered at the same time. That's my fault. So basically, one night after IPC aired, it was like in its first year. One night after it aired, Chris, the station manager for 1138, was listening, and he goes, "There are crickets in my yard outside." This was before he moved to LA. He was still in the New England area. And he said, "There are bugs making noise in my backyard. I'm going to go and listen to them and just talk on the station." And people were like, cool, he's going in his backyard. And somehow we ended up with the hashtag Backyard Watch. Next thing you know, there's like 12 people listening to Chris's random thoughts while he's sitting on his back porch, listening to the bugs in his backyard. And he said, you know what? I'm just going to keep this going. And he did. And he said, if I ever get below 10 listeners on 1138, that's when I'm going to call it a night. Out of spite, people started opening tabs on their computers. At least that's what I did. Opened up different tabs on their computers to make it look like there were 10 people listening, and forced Chris to pull an all-nighter in his backyard because he never got below 10 live listeners.
And this went on for many, many, many nights. We would do IPC, and then Chris would jump on after us, and then he would do it, and then I would just go about my business. I would go to work, I'd go home, I would go to sleep, I would wake up the next day, and Chris is still on. They're all still, like, they're talking about how, like, oh yeah, somebody fell asleep, there was snoring on the channel, there was just dead air. Like, it was insanity, and it was so great, and I miss it. And you know what? Chris is back in New Hampshire right now. He needs to bring it back, guys.
It's time to
bring back the backyard.
Backyard Watch.
Hashtag bring back Backyard Watch.
I'm pretty close. I'm in PA. I should go visit him.
Yeah.
Do you remember what year that was?
Probably. If that was the first year of IPC, it was probably 2014, if not early 2015.
I remember doing it before Force Awakens came out.
Fluffy, are you here?
Yeah.
Yo!
Hey! We got the hype man.
Fluff Watch.
Oh, yeah.
Finally.
Just talking about good old days of Backyard Watch.
Oh my
You were there.
God.
You remember that?
I remember, dude, 6.5 years ago when IPC started. This was April, I believe, late April 2014. Right afterwards, like Chris, station manager, Chillum 38, just broadcasted from his backyard. With
It sounds oddly familiar.
You just talked about it while I was gone.
Jeff is giving out dates and times here. This is fascinating. We got none of that.
Yeah, like I was wondering when exactly it was.
Time zones.
And I was one of those people in chat just like messing around with Chris was just like reading chat and just doing whatever he pleased. And my God, and just to think IPC is 300 episodes strong.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh God.
I can't believe it.
Me neither. I really didn't think that Ben was going to put up with me for that long. I thought like 50 episodes tops, and it'd be like, yeah, I really think I need to focus on my Star Wars. This was a great experiment, but I'm done. Like, I honest to God thought that like, if you go back and listen to our very first episode, I got like this weird Southern drawl thing going on, and
Some of us still do.
I said a lot of uhs and y'all crap like that, and it sounded like George Strait was trying to make love to a donkey. I tell you what,
almost as Southern as everyone Ben knows in Mississippi. Okay,
it was not good. It was not.
Because this is a podcast born and raised in the South, y'all. It was started by two good old Southern boys, never meaning no harm. They never get in trouble with the law.
Never meaning no harm.
Biggest trouble I ever got with the law was when my inspection sticker was out of date and I got a $40 ticket.
You sound like you own a plantation.
No, actually, I take that back. I actually did almost get arrested once when I was 13.
For shoplifting from a Walmart.
No, I wasn't shoplifting. It was actually like a hit and run accident kind of thing. Except I kept hitting the car over and over and over again.
Wow.
Who have we got here that's been added to the call? I see a Ryan Valentino. What's up? Oh,
he muted himself.
I say what's up, and then Ryan goes mute. Right. Okay.
Speak. No, what's going on, my guys?
Hey.
Hello.
There he is.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us on our 300th anniversary. It sounds like we're 300 years old by doing that.
It's been a long time.
Didn't you say 7 episodes, 300 years or something?
Older than America itself.
Yeah.
Oh.
If we did one episode a year, that would have to be like one damn good episode.
Wow.
Ryan, how long have you been a listener of the IPC podcast?
I actually never listened to an episode before. I found this link on Twitter, and I said, yo, let's run a train, boys.
Wow. That is epic. First time contributor to the show, and you're on our 300th special. That is amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here for 300. I missed 299 episodes, but I'm here.
Well, hey, that's a perfect opportunity to let people know that they can find previous episodes of our show at ipcpodcast.podbean.com. We've got an entire library of those 200-something odd episodes available there. And we're also on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, CastBox, and a host of other things. Wow. I think the only one we're not on is Spotify, but that's okay because who uses Spotify for
come on.
anymore anyways?
Okay, Maniacal Melodies, my music podcast, is on Spotify.
Well, that makes sense, though. A music-themed podcast on a music-playing app like that.
Delayed replay is also on Spotify.
Okay, shut up.
Enough with the plugs, all right? Just shut up.
We got so many plugs, we don't need a dealer anymore.
Ooh, I really respect that I've had 4 of y'all on my podcasts. Like, I just thanks for being on. I love having.
Wait,
y'all
who have you had on your podcast?
I've had Ben on. I've had Ben on 500 times. I've had Zac on 2 or 3 times. Jake, I've had you on a couple of times.
When did you have me on?
No. He's talking about Hype Function, not Maniacal Melodies.
Not Maniacal Melodies.
No, none of us have enough experience in music to be on Maniacal Melody.
Although I did have our pal Dominic Jones on with F105, so I had him on with him. So that
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
The
Well,
most I could
Crazy
contribute to
Train.
Maniacal Melodies is you would play a song and I would lean into the microphone and say,
Just
yes,
like-
I can confirm this is music.
play every IPC intro music. Yeah.
At this point, I've done so many podcasts that if someone said, "Hey, you've been on my podcast," I'd be like, "Okay, yeah, I guess
I'm
I
not
guess
surprised.
I have." 'Cause,
This is actually my first podcast I've been on. So
Wow.
Oh,
really,
dang.
really. I heard
Dude,
the part where I ask questions and all, but not this kind of part.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time I was ever on a podcast was Ben Hart asked me to be a guest on IPC. I was so nervous. And I had never done a podcast before. And I was like, I'm going to say something stupid. I'm going to do something. I'm going to ruin the entire show. And it went really well. I can't even remember what we talked about, but that is the day I got hooked on podcasting, my friends.
I'm hooked on a podcast.
there's a first time for everything, and everyone's first time is very weird. It's very
Yeah,
weird.
it's
Just
very weird
you
for
know,
me now.
Yeah. When you lose your podcasting virginity, it's something really special.
Ben,
just like that, he made it weird.
Ben took my virginity that day.
Thank you for taking my virginity.
I was nervous, but Ben said, "Don't worry, it'll be over soon."
We all know 2020 is a year of hell, but I really respect, and I think, Ben, you have to love that not only is IPC having its 300th episode this year, but the Star Wars Underworld has had 10 years of operation. That's crazy.
Hey, congratulations about that.
Thank you. Thank
you.
Some huge milestones this year.
Mhm.
On top of everything else that's happening, just kind of my life flashing before my eyes and going, I've been doing this for so long. My
But
God,
it's
what have I been
crazy.
doing with my life?
It's crazy to think that, like, as far as podcasting goes, especially, like, there haven't really been that many podcasts in general that have been around for much longer than 10 years. So you're like, you know, like, I mean, a few, I guess. I'm not even sure when podcasting started, but like, I
Long
remember
time ago.
the term was coined sometime in the early 2000s, I think. But yeah, it's like you go way back, you know.
From what I've heard, it's actually even older than that, but maybe the term is not as old as the actual thing.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I don't know. Like, they really kind of started becoming really popular kind of like between 2006 and 2008, I feel like.
I feel like that's the around there when it was like podcasts were like a fringe thing. Like, I openly admit, when the Star Wars Underworld started and I first started getting into this, I didn't know what a podcast was, like, legitimately.
Yeah, true.
Like, I was like,
True.
podcast,
I was like,
what?
is this radio but lesser?
Yeah. And now it's so like everywhere you go, there's podcasts now. Everywhere
you go, everywhere you go, there's a podcast you can listen to.
They said the term podcasting was coined in 2004 by journalist Ben Hammersley in a newspaper article for The Guardian.
Ben Hart for Israeli.
Very similar names there.
Yeah.
Right?
So close. So close.
Little too similar.
Yeah, Ben, wasn't it like 1 or 2 years into the SWU that you started podcasting?
Yeah, it was about I don't know. It's just like I of course started the Facebook page. And that's all I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And then this guy named Chris came along and was like, we're going to do everything. We're going to have a website and a podcast and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, whoa, slow down.
Oh,
dude.
it sounds just like him.
Yeah, exactly.
It really does.
So
I thought Chris was in the Zoom call
I
with
was
him.
literally dragged, like, because I didn't want to, like, I remember the first time I got on Skype and talked to Chris Sequel. I did not want to do it. He forced me to do it. I was an antisocial person. I was terrified.
Wait, so are you saying that, like, Chris podcast raped you?
Yikes.
Okay, guys, I think we just need to wrap it up.
I was
there.
a willing participant in my first time.
Yeah, with Jake it was consensual, but apparently Ben was kicking and screaming and got
I was ready.
screwed
I was
over.
asking for it.
But I had never done.
I'm sure it was the way you were
Yikes.
dressed, Ben. You just dressed like a podcast slut.
He deserved it. He deserved it. Why are we talking about this?
Steven's feeling very
I
uncomfortable.
feel
This
so
is very
dirty.
uncomfortable.
He's turning more red than he already is.
We are adults.
Steven's like, I think I have to go now.
Yo, is this a Star Wars podcast?
Sometimes
film?
I don't even know what it is right now.
Right now, it's kind of a cluster, Ryan, because we decided to make it like really off the hook, and and it really went off the rails too.
Off the chain, man.
So that's a good question though, because for first timers like Ryan, how would you describe the IPC podcast? Like, what's your best way of like doing like a 30-second elevator pitch for the IPC podcast?
IPC, Idiots Podcasting.
Wow. Jake, you're going to get kicked off the show.
Intergalactic Peace Jelly.
Okay, no, not going down that road again. Oh my gosh. See, that's a throwback from like 5 years ago that poor Ryan has no idea what we're talking about.
I don't think a lot of people know.
Yeah,
Let
probably.
him talk
And
now.
it's probably for the best. If you look up Intergalactic Peace Jelly, they're an actual band from the Midwest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
like when
remember that.
you start typing Intergalactic Peace on Facebook,
Yep.
you'll either get Coalition or Jelly. Those are your top two results.
And basically, we were on a show with Dominic, DJ Crazy Train Jones, and we found
What the hell
this.
was that?
We found out that there was a band that named Intergalactic Peace Jelly. And we proceeded to spend the next hour making fun of them
Yep.
and just going all out. And then a listener of ours who is not here tonight.
Not here and not affiliated with us, by the way.
No. A well-meaning one, but still someone who does not represent us, went and sent an invite to Intergalactic Peace Jelly and said, hey, why don't you go up here on the IPC podcast? You know, the podcast that made fun of you for like an hour. And and it was not fun. Not fun at all.
that was like our only crisis. That's like the only crisis IPC's ever had, and we had to clean that up pretty quick. But on that note, their most listened to song on SoundCloud, I really need to try it. I still haven't gotten around to it, but I will never forget the title of this song. Their most listened to song is titled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtleneck.
That is an excellent song title, I must say.
I love it just for the name, honestly.
Me too.
But Ryan, going back to your original question, Ben is the co-host of a Star Wars podcast called the Star Wars Underworld, and he's been on that show for probably about plus 2 years more than IPC's been around, somewhere in that range. But for a while, it was getting to the point where it was just Star Wars and no opportunity to talk about anything else. And while I like Star Wars, I was just getting into Marvel Comics, DC. I was getting into Star Trek at the time. I was kind of expanding my horizons. And I reached out to him and say, hey, would you be interested in doing a podcast about Star Wars and other things? And he was like, yeah, that would be great because I only get to talk about Star Wars. And this would give me a chance to talk about other stuff. And so from that, we started drawing in Star Wars listeners by talking about the movies, the Clone Wars TV show, things like that. And then it grew from there. And we talked about the Avengers. We talked about some of the DC TV shows like The Arrow and The Flash when they came out.
It's just called Arrow, right?
It's just called Arrow now, but at one point it was called The
It's always
Arrow.
been Arrow.
It's always been Arrow.
Whatever.
That Green Arrow guy.
I hate that it's not called Green Arrow.
It should be called that. Anyways, we did some reviews on shows like that for a bit, and then we found out that people wanted us to talk about more recent stuff too. And so anytime there was a recent release that came out, we would give people about a week or two buffer, and then we would go on and give our reviews of certain movies. And so since then, we've done like big get-togethers for the new Star Wars movies that have come out. We've done big crossovers with other podcasts doing talks about things like the Avengers films when Infinity War and Endgame came out.
Aha, yeah.
Yes.
And
those were so good.
They've been
Endgame
fun to
Pod
do
was so good.
and really fun to listen to. They've been really fun to collaborate on. And that's really the essence of IPC. Is it's movie reviews, it's TV reviews from just about any galaxy you can think of. We haven't even scratched the surface on some of them because like there's series like Farscape and Babylon 5 that I still want to get around to eventually.
Those are amazing. They're two of my favorite sci-fi shows ever.
I really want to do stuff like that, but there's still so many other great things out there. Like I need to get Ben to watch like the rest of Discovery. You know, I need to get Jake.
Oh, I've watched it all. I
need to get Jake to watch Altered Carbon. You know, there's other shows out there. There's other movies out there.
2 weeks ago
that we're trying to get. Was it 2? I thought it was closer to 3, but yeah.
Or maybe
I thought it was like
3
4.
weeks
It's
ago.
weird in
We made a deal.
Yeah.
Zach's like, I will watch all of Umbrella Academy if you watch Altered Carbon, and I'm like, deal. You got a deal. Like 4 days later, you're like, well, done with Umbrella Academy.
Honestly, it's going to be an interesting day when IPC delves into anime territory.
I don't know if we're
McClunky.
Oh man. Okay.
I would start an anime podcast.
Does Avatar: The Last Airbender count?
I will jump on that if. Yeah.
I'm gonna say well, maybe not.
I will try something like really vanilla, like Cowboy Bebop or something like that.
That's a really good show, actually.
I would probably try and do one like that. And Jake, if you ever do start an anime podcast, I will do Avatar and Cowboy Bebop with you. That's about as far as I can go. I do have a friend though. His name's Paco, who has been into anime and manga for like a decade. He actually taught me to say it correctly. It's not.
Paco was one of the first guests on this podcast.
He was when we were talking about the state of DC back in the day, like one of our first 5 episodes. He was a guest helping us talk about DC. I don't think
McClunky.
I don't think he's been on.
Okay. Here's the thing that's gonna happen. I gotta go.
No,
I gotta run. Run. I might be back. I'm gonna leave everything running because I'm posting this thing and Mixer's going or whatever. So this thing's just gonna keep going, but without me.
So we're just going to be looking at an empty room then? Is that what we're doing?
Maybe
An
not.
empty room with Kyle Ren.
But yeah, maybe I'll talk to you guys in a little while. Maybe if you're crazy enough to keep going with this and just go all night.
Just like the old backyard watch days.
Who knows? I really don't know. Like I've got a decent bandwidth going right now on OBS. We've been going for almost 2 hours on OBS alone.
Damn.
So
we're 2:16
I don't know
on Mixer.
how long I'm gonna be here, but
I don't blame you, man. I really don't.
I'm surprised you stuck around this long.
Yeah, honestly.
yeah,
honestly,
I agree on that one.
Oh my gosh, it's almost 6:30 where you are in the morning. Is that right?
Yep.
Wow.
Crazy.
Okay.
Crazy.
For frame of reference, I love everybody in this call. I really do. To some degree, probably some more than others, but I love everybody in this call.
I know exactly who you're talking about that you leave last.
It's because of what I said about Spaceballs, isn't it?
Right. But I would never podcast with you guys at 6:30 in the goddamn morning.
No, never gonna
What if there
happen.
was
That
money
time does not
involved?
exist on my clock.
Never gonna happen. Never has happened. Never will happen. So, Matias, you win the most dedicated award because you just flat out showed up at like from the hours of 3 to 6 in the morning. That is ridiculous. That is
Thanks.
phenomenal, and we appreciate it a lot.
Thanks.
So I guess I'm going to the show notes now for like the first time ever.
So fun fact on my podcasts, I do not use show notes.
Oh.
It's all improv.
That's
what I'm gonna do when I start a podcast.
Personally, for me, I think it's just a control issue. I like to have a little bit of structure most of the time, just so that I have an idea of what to look forward to and what things I need to cover versus the things that, maybe they do need to get covered, maybe they don't. It's okay. If we throw that in there, then great. But I personally just like to have a little bit of structure to what we're doing. It's not a knock on anybody else's way of doing it by any means, but I don't know.
I just the way you podcast, Jeff.
Right? That's why I'm never on your show. I'm kidding.
No, come on, dude.
I'm totally kidding. My gosh.
That's because I invite Ben on so darn much.
Well, in all fairness, Ben probably has a little bit more freedom to be guest on podcasts than I do right now.
You have a busy schedule, man. I don't want to bother you.
Especially with football season starting up. I'm going to be doing like some radio broadcasts for football season in the next couple of weeks. So, things are going to be kind of weird. But wow, there's a lot of potential mini top fives being thrown in here. I don't know who's adding those.
Also, I love how I pretended to be annoyed that Jeff didn't invite me on his podcast when A, he did, but B,
multiple times.
You've invited me multiple times and I'm the worst at responding. I
had you on with Ben right when COVID began.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man, dude.
Man.
Dude. I'd like to be on again.
That's a fun time. Apparently we missed Ryan, but hopefully he had fun. Let's do one of these. Let's do one of these mini top fives that are being thrown in here, because top five was one of the things that has made IPC so fun and so great. I kind of like this thing. Steven, I'm guessing this is you putting stuff in there?
Oh, no, I haven't put anything.
You haven't put anything? Okay. Who put Star Wars EU in there? Somebody, maybe it was Ben. Maybe Ben's the anonymous unicorn. I don't know.
Maybe
EU stands for enormous unicorn.
Right?
Ooh.
That's what they called me in high school.
Yikes.
Steven's so good with puns, I'm telling you.
So do we...
Thanks.
How would you want to have a top 5 Star Wars EU discussion? Because I'm thinking like mostly Legends canon.
Yeah, is it top 5 EU books, stories, or like?
I could do books.
Books, trilogies, storylines, characters. Sure. I don't know. I would do books.
Let's do storylines.
Storylines?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna make an actual list. I'm just gonna mention some because I haven't read enough.
Go ahead. Why don't you lead us off so the rest of us can try and come up with our 5?
Okay. One I think of first, I haven't completed it, but does any one of you remember Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi?
I know of it, but I've never read it.
I remember it, but I don't remember much about it, is my problem.
It's kind of the beginning of the Jedi, their origins and all that.
Okay.
Or what it felt like.
Okay.
It was, but it's also starting after they have existed for a time, so it's kind of weird.
Okay.
I don't know the 100% timeline of the Legends universe, so.
Yeah, I think it's 25,000 years in the past or so.
Oh man,
but it was fun. It was fun. I haven't read the first 2 ones, and they're pretty good. And I want to get the third one, but it's really hard to get. Apparently.
This is where the extent of my Star Wars fandom shows, because I'm not as familiar with the EU, unfortunately.
Really? Because I thought you and I had some really, really good talks before about
the extent of my EU experience is I read Darth Plagueis a bunch of years ago.
What am I? That's my movies. Hold on. I'm going to go take a look at my bookshelf because I feel like there's one storyline that I'm missing and I can't think of it for the life of me, and I'm going to kill myself, not literally, but I'm going to be mad. Hey, in today's society,
you just hang yourself in the back.
I saw that
right,
viral...
Yeah, it's a good thing you clarified that, yeah.
Okay, but honestly though, I saw that viral TikTok video of the really depressed guy in Mississippi who committed suicide on Facebook Live.
Oh shit!
Ew.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I've heard of.
Ever since then, I have not made any suicide related jokes, because when you actually watch somebody commit suicide, as opposed to just hearing that somebody committed suicide, it rocks your world. Yeah. Not gonna lie, suddenly your whole worldview is shifted to where you're like, wow, splash of reality. I don't think I'm there yet, and I don't want to be in that place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. But I'm gonna go look at my books. I'm not gonna kill myself. I'm going to be right back. I know I'm forgetting something, but I can't remember what it is for the life of me.
I read Darth Plagueis. I also read The Mandalorian Armor, the first book. I think there's 3 in that trilogy, but that was really cool because it was like, I think that was the book that really got into Boba Fett escaping the Sarlacc pit, and there's a few other details in there that was interesting, but
it's like the Bounty Hunter trilogy.
Yeah, I think so.
I've read the Jedi Path book, the one that's kind of a school book about how to be a Jedi or something. That one is pretty good, and I got it on a actual food store.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
Yeah, it was just laying there, and yeah, that looks kind of fine for me. Yeah, I take that.
Yeah.
And let my mom and dad pay for it.
Nice.
Okay, I've found what I was looking for, and I've actually completed my 5. So, Steven, unless you have any objections, I'm gonna list my 5.
All right, go ahead.
At number 5, it's the Jason versus Jaina storyline that you get throughout the course of the Solo twins. How he becomes a Sith and how she becomes the Sword of the Jedi. They end up having to.
I heard of those.
So Legacy of the Force.
Well, but Legacy of the Force encompasses a lot of different storylines. But
A lot of novels.
That particular thread of Jason's fall and Jaina's rise to the point that they end up having to fight each other in the book Invincible. I read Invincible in like 36 hours. I was engrossed in that book. That's a really great storyline. At number 4, it would be Thrawn's storyline in the book Outbound Flight. The Thrawn trilogy is excellent. But if you want a really good precursor that shows his tactical side in a very, very comprehensive and cool way, gotta read the book Outbound Flight. I read that book about once a year just to refresh my memory because it is such an interesting and compelling story, and it's carried by Thrawn. So that's a really great storyline. At number 3, it would be the Jedi Academy storyline by Kevin J. Anderson, that trilogy of Luke training a new series of Jedi at the Yavin 4 Temple and coming in contact with Exar Kun, a Dark Lord of the Sith. That whole series, that whole trilogy is really well written. It's very imaginative, but it's not so dark that you get like super overwhelmed and depressed by it like you do with certain other storylines from the EU. So I don't know. I think it's a really, really well told story. And I think it was my first Star Wars novel that I read was the book 2 of the Jedi Academy trilogy. So I ended up having to find like the first and the third in order to round out the story. But I think that was my first Legends novel. At number 2, it's the book ending Legends books that go on either end of Revenge of the Sith. The book Labyrinth of Evil.
Yeah.
Labyrinth of Evil, and then Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. Those 2 books make Revenge of the Sith so much better, in my opinion. Okay. Like the stories that they tell, the mysteries that are unraveling, the stuff that leads up to the attack on Coruscant, Order 66, the aftermath, seeing Vader in action, continuing Operation Nightfall even after Revenge of the Sith is finished. There's a lot of story that just kind of helps bring a lot more into light about what happened in episode 3. So those 2 books make for a really, really great storyline. And then my favorite storyline from the Legends, it's pretty obvious. I am a huge proponent of trying to find a way to incorporate the Yuzan Vong into the current canon. They were, in my opinion, one of the best things to happen to the expanded universe. I thought it was amazing, and it explained a lot of things that seemed like tactical and clerical errors by the Empire. At one point, I think one of the books kind of intimates that the whole reason for the existence of the Death Star was not to actually be a planet-killing superweapon, but it was to be a defense weapon in case of invasion from an alien species outside of our known galaxy. Like, the Emperor was building these Death Stars in preparation for what his exploratory teams had discovered in the unknown regions. He was aware that the Vong existed and was trying to come up with some kind of super weapon that would be able to withstand their forces.
Yeah.
So that just really, really made a lot of sense to me, because having one planet killer in this entire galaxy, it's basically just going to be running around destroying moons and destroying planets until everybody shapes up. Having one or two of them doesn't make a whole lot of sense in managing an empire, but it does make sense as part of a defense fleet. And if those are your flagships of a defense fleet, then it makes a little bit more sense as to why you have them and why you made them so strong in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Yuzon Vong, my favorite EU storyline.
Sorry if I seem a bit distracted, but we have a squirrel outside there. So.
Oh, yay! More animals joining the fun.
Yeah.
Is the sun already coming up over where you are?
No, but it's getting light. It's getting brighter.
It's getting there. It's getting there. We're close.
Yeah, I maybe have to go soon. I don't know how long.
Yeah, I gotta go pretty soon too, unfortunately.
Dude, I don't blame you one bit. Okay, Steven, why don't you give us your top 5, and then...
Can I just mention one first before?
Sure.
Before I forget it.
Sure.
Mine is the Star Wars Infinities comics. And I wish we had more of those.
Okay, cool. That's cool.
Wish we could have a show that was them now. Oh, just like the Marvel What If in the future.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Okay, Steven, let's do another edition of Shinder's List if you've got a 5 lined up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this was tough because, like, you mentioned a couple good ones as well. And so I guess, I don't know, since we said storylines, I guess I'll omit standalones from mine. So, like, Darth Plagueis and Kenobi, like, those will be my honorable mentions, I guess.
Okay.
Number 5, Legacy of the Force. I love seeing what they did with the Solo twins, like seeing how they grew and what they became, and also like the stuff on the side with like Boba Fett. I thought that was pretty cool, made him feel very human. Number 4, the Thrawn trilogy. It just feels like a legitimate like sequel trilogy from back in the day and like added to the lore and whatnot.
Well, and for a long time, that was the only Star Wars people had.
Yeah.
Like, before The Phantom Menace came out, that was, like, the only Star Wars people had to consume.
Right. Like, there were
the special
like, other
edition
comics and books and whatnot, but the Thrawn trilogy was, like, head and shoulders above lots of storylines.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
For 3, I'd also go with, like, the Dark Lord trilogy of Labyrinth of Evil, Revenge of the Sith, Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. Lucino just writes the characters so well in those. Number 2, the Knights of the Old Republic comic series by John Jackson Miller. Zane Carrick is a very great character, and I love the quote that he says where it's like, when you grow up never being good enough, every day is a compromise between what you want to be and what you are, or something like that. And it just resonates with me. I also like imagining that the Seinfeld cast is the voices of the main characters of that series. And number 1, it's actually one I haven't finished yet, but the Star Wars Legacy comics, or it takes place over a century after everything, like the future of Star Wars, and it really does feel like a culmination of the entire expanded universe as we knew it at that point. So I think that's really cool.
That is cool.
Can you just take the ones in between Thrawn and Legacy again? I'm notating.
Oh, he's taking notes. Oh, my man. My man. The recommendations we give are now things that people are going to be looking into. Wow, we have an influence. That is cool.
We made the difference.
Yeah. So what were your middle three again?
Middle two.
Oh,
Middle two?
Between Thrawn and Legacy.
Oh, mine?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Dark Lord trilogy and the Knights of the Old Republic comics.
Okay.
That's cool. That is very cool. Well, Ben has already stepped aside, and we've heard from a couple of people that they probably need to step aside soon. So let's try and start winding things down as best we can. One other element that we like to do here on the IPC podcast is a segment called the Quote of the Night. So I'm just going to go around the horn, and let's find one quote that we have memorized, that we love, that we catch ourselves repeating on a pretty regular basis, something that maybe means a lot to us. Let's find our favorite quote. It can be from a movie, a book, a TV show, a philosopher, a song, anything that you want to try and pull a quote from. This is your time to have a quote of the night. I know people are thinking of theirs, so I'm going to lead off if that's cool with y'all so that you have a little bit more time to come up with something. But for me, my favorite quote, as ironic as this may seem, Phantom Menace isn't exactly my favorite movie. It's not even my favorite Star Wars movie, but it does have my favorite quote. It's when Qui-Gon Jinn is on the platform with young Anakin, and he gets down on his level, eye level, and he looks at him and he says, "Always remember, your focus determines your reality." And that is something that has stuck with me since 1999. Your focus determines your reality. Whatever you put your mind to, whatever you put your efforts to, your energies, your focus, whatever it is that you are that tuned into, that's going to turn into your reality eventually. Your focus determines your reality. There's my quote of the night.
Love it.
Great.
I think for me, I always go back to Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is one of my favorite things ever. And one thing I quote all the time, which doesn't really have any real significance, but it fits a lot of situations, and I use it a lot with my brother too. But in The Last Crusade, when Indy breaks into his dad's room at the castle on the German-Austrian border, the castle of Brunwald. They escape. They try to escape, and the Nazis come in, and Indy takes a gun and just mows the Nazis down. And Sean Connery is like in total shock, and he's like, "Look what you did! I can't believe what you did!" And I use that line all the time in so many situations.
Is that where you got that stupid British accent that you did about how your tea was ruined? I have nightmares about that video.
No, but that was I don't know.
I left the stove on too long.
Jake,
tea was
I don't
ruined.
know
My tea was ruined.
Jake, I have no idea what goes on with you.
Don't know what rattles on in that tiny little brain of yours.
I don't know.
But
I gotta
it's
keep myself
got to
up.
be tired from bouncing off of your skull so often.
I have so many other videos where I did that voice, and that was just the one I liked the most.
Oh my gosh. Matias, do you have a favorite quote?
I'm trying to think of it right now.
It can be in your native language too. By all means, like just don't feel like you have to be confined to English for our sake. Like anything that you find inspirational, by all means.
I actually have some English ones, but I'm bouncing through which one I actually should use. But
okay, well we can circle back. Steven, do you have a favorite quote?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I thought of one.
Okay.
So this one is actually from a song by my favorite singer, John Anderson, and the song is called Incoming, and like it's a really good song. I recommend listening to it, but it like reaches like this like it feels very like uplifting and whatnot. It reaches this point where it feels like an uplifting climax, and so there's this like saying that keeps repeating, which is save love given to us, save love given to us. And like that resonates with me because it's like, you know, times get tough, but it's like you gotta remember like the love that is given to you by the people you give your love to as well. And like if we remember that love, like it keeps us going. So yeah, I think that's why that's my favorite quote of the night.
You're gonna make me cry, Steven. That's beautiful.
I think I got one.
Okay, let's go for it.
It's a Yoda quote from the Clone Wars season 3, the assassin, the one where we meet Arsing again, and she is trying to kill Padme.
Mm-hmm.
And at the in the middle, I think it is, where Yoda is trying to clear up the dreams that Ashoka is having. He's saying many possible futures. No, I pushed it. Shit. For some reason, I can't remember the line now.
That's okay.
I just had it at the tip of the tongue.
That's a good episode to watch, honestly.
Yeah.
Just go watch the whole episode. That's a great standalone that actually gives a lot of attention to characters like Aurra Sing and Padme, which we needed more of in the Clone Wars.
I'm gonna find the episode and try to find the quote.
Okay. Fluffy, we haven't heard from you in a little bit.
Yeah.
What's your favorite quote, man?
I have a couple on my mind, and both from a video game. I know you don't talk about video games as much on IPC, but
not as much as I'd like.
Yeah, you got to get me on a video game episode. But the quote is from sort of the antagonist of Dragon Age, from Dragon Age Origins, by Flemeth, who is a very mysterious dark character that you encounter in the game. It is, you are required to do nothing, least of all believe. Shut one's eyes tight or open one's arms wide. Either way, one's a fool.
Interesting.
She's a very mysterious character. I love that about her.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I found it.
Okay.
I'll just read the Yoda quotes.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do an impression because I'm not that good on his voice. Choose you must how to respond to your visions, but remember, always in motion is the future, and many possible futures there are. And that's so true.
Mm-hmm. That is true. And I think he's used that quote before. Doesn't he say always in motion in the future during Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, something like that.
I think Luke sees the vision of Han and Leia in pain, and he asks if they're gonna die, and Yoda closes his eyes for a moment and says, "Difficult to see. Always in motion is the future." So I really like that kind of storytelling consistency. This is apparently something that Yoda says on a pretty regular basis. Like he's saying it back in the Clone Wars, and he's saying it during Empire Strikes Back. Like over the course of decades, he is always very adamant about how in motion the future is. So that's pretty cool.
And that line has stick.
How did he not say that? How did he not say that in Last Jedi?
I couldn't tell you, man.
How come a lot of things were said in The Last Jedi?
A lot of things were said in The Last Jedi, but I have caught myself quoting Yoda from The Last Jedi more frequently. Just the quote of, we are what they grow beyond. That is the burden of all masters. And I think back on like previous mentorships that I've been a part of. I think back on like master-apprentice relationships from Star Wars, from Avatar, from just about anything that has that kind of duplicity to it. It really is the burden of the master to find a way to help the pupil surpass them. And that was actually a really profound quote. I have a lot of other critiques about The Last Jedi, but that quote is not one of them. I did enjoy that one a lot.
I agree.
It's just like the Beyond Burger.
Oh, Circling back to that, are we? Oh man, it is getting late, or early in Matias's case.
Yeah, it's getting brighter. The sun is not up yet, but it's getting brighter.
Man, I do love that part of the morning. If I was a morning person, that would be my favorite part of the morning, where it's not quite sunlight, but it's light enough where you can see what's going on in the world. It's very cool. There's a little bit of dew on the grass. Like, I do enjoy that, but really, most of the time, the only time, do you want my love? Do it.
Dude.
Why have they not made a Snickers commercial about that yet? Or is it, no, it's Nike. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just DEW it.
Right?
This episode sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Right?
No, this episode sponsored by Coke Zero. Thank you.
This episode sponsored by itself. I am my own product placement, bitch. Which, by the way, if you want swag like this, go to tpublic.com /IPC Podcast. We've got some really cool shirts. We've got hoodies. We've got tank tops. We've got stickers. There's all kinds of stuff there. TEE.
Are you getting it masks?
Masks. That's a good question. I wonder if the place actually does masks, because I could totally see this logo slapped on a mask. Couldn't you? That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
I will really use that. I use this mask right now for school because some of my school is actually on the school, and I have to train in back home, and I don't want to get into it. So
nope.
Also, you might be one of the only.
Some from my grandma since she is making in some, but I would like to also have one that has my favorite podcast on it.
Wow, that's very high praise. We will definitely look into that, even if it's just for one person. If anybody else wants an IPC themed mask, maybe we can find like an independent contractor that does that sort of thing, and we can make IPC themed masks, because that's definitely a very 2020 thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
I found one that was, say what?
Well, I was just gonna say, unfortunately, I do have to jump off now. I can't stick around for the barbecue segment, unfortunately. But it has been fun. We've been on here for I don't know how many hours now.
Probably close to 3.
Almost 3, but it's been a blast.
Yeah.
Steven, it's great to see you. Zach, Ben, I know you're not here anymore, but it's great to see you, dude. Jeff, Matias.
Good to see you, Ben.
Dude, thanks for staying up so long and just being here to see us.
Thanks.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, got to have you back on Hype Function, Jake.
Dude, I will, and I'll try and be better about responding, because I'm terrible. Like, ask anybody.
We all are.
I'm terrible. So,
I'm
but
used to
300 episodes. Very proud. Very happy to be here for the last year or so, and I can't wait to see what this next year brings. Hopefully, it's better than 2020.
I mean, you've been a listener since the beginning, Jake.
Pretty much.
More or less.
I've been there since near the beginning. So, I will always be a listener.
Oh man. Well, thanks again for helping us celebrate 300 episodes, dude. Looking forward to 301 and beyond. We will see you when we see you, I suppose, or hear from you, depending on if you're listening. But I guess we're all saluting now, apparently. So
have a good night.
Bye, Jake.
Have a good night. Have a good morning.
Jake gets all
Thanks,
this
a good night, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
That is Jake Damon. Find him as such, Jake Damon, on social media, or Jake W. Damon on Instagram. Jexpatch, Jex Patch, is his art account on Instagram as well. So you can find him at all those places. Ben's account is Ben Hart with no E. Just spell that out phonetically. You can find him on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And be sure to follow our podcast at IPC Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if you're not doing so already. All right, we're down to the final 4, fellas, and apparently only one original host, which is kind of weird, but that's okay. We'll make it work. I'm gonna cruise us on into the finish line with the final segment of the evening, and I'm actually really glad that Matias has been able to stick around for this final portion, because I'm really, really curious if there's anything that resembles barbecue where you live. Is there anything that based on the photos that we've shared and the discussions that we've had, is there anything that even comes close?
Yes, there is, because we have barbecue in
Is it true barbecue though, or is it like Korean barbecue where they just slap a lot of KC Masterpiece on it and call it barbecue?
I'm not sure.
I'm just messing with you. So describe barbecue.
We put them on a grill, and we have them on there for some time, and then we put them on the plate and eat. Okay. And also have some sauce, of course.
Okay.
How's it taste?
Very, very straightforward.
It tastes great. It's mostly some of the best food I can get to eat. So,
okay. Our friend Francisco's listening in the chat, and he says chicharrón. Oh man, what I would give for some chicharrones right now.
Oh, this sounds so good.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you. Okay, Fluffy, your favorite barbecue and why?
Too much, too many things. My dad makes killer barbecue, but I can't specifically identify it, so you might not like this, but Wingstop barbecue. Barbecue boneless wings, man, from Wings. Yeah, I knew you wouldn't like it, Zach.
That's not barbecue. Boneless wings aren't even wings. They're just glorified chicken nuggets.
They're wings, dude. Come on. They're shaped like it. Come on.
Have you seen that viral video of that guy that stood up in front of the city council asking for his entire city to abolish the term boneless wings?
Of course there is someone.
It is one of the funniest videos I have watched all year because he's like super, super serious about it. And he goes on like this 2-minute tangent for logistical reasons why boneless wings are like things that should not exist and should not be called boneless wings. It's hilarious. But to each their own. Like, I'm not knocking Wingstop. I've had it.
Y'all gotta invite me to Mississippi. I really want to try Ben's barbecue. Come on.
Ben's barbecue is awesome. His ribs and his pulled pork sandwiches are like unequaled, in all honesty.
If I ever get to America, I will really want to go.
Hey, we have actually been in talks with Jake Damon about potentially doing a road trip out to Mississippi sometime. So Jake would theoretically fly into Dallas from where he lives. I've got a buddy named Mondo who lives in this area too.
Mondo, yes.
Yeah. And the three of us have talked about like carpooling out to Mississippi to go hang out with Ben for a few days, have the barbecue, go to the beach, stuff like that, and then drive back to the Dallas area. So it would be the three of us, Jake, me, and Mondo, on a road trip to Mississippi and back, having a lot of road trip shenanigans. And then Jake would fly home from Dallas. The only catch is Jake's about to become a dad.
Oh.
So we only got a few months left to do this in before it's baby time. And so I don't know. We'll figure that out. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But if there's a chance at like getting a whole bunch of people to meet in Mississippi, I kind of want to make that happen. So we'll see how that goes. Steven, you are up. I don't even know, like, you were making non-meat burgers earlier. So is barbecue even a part of your palate?
I mean, I've had barbecue on multiple occasions.
Okay.
But I also know you're not going to like my answer. My favorite is Korean barbecue.
Okay, no. I didn't mean to like disrespect Korean barbecue before. Like, it's a really unique and really clever fusion. It's so different. The stylization, the preparation, it's all so different from Texan barbecue that it's like a culture shock for me. And so I'm not trying to disrespect the culture. It's just it doesn't resonate with me the way other barbecue does. That's
yeah. I mean, I really like the taste and how you don't have to like really cut through bone, or if there is bone, maybe it's like very little of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just like something that me and my brother have loved doing, is going to like get Korean barbecue. So yeah, I really like it.
That's cool. That is cool. And that's what barbecue should be about. It should be about the flavor, it should be about the experience, and it should be about family. Like I think
barbecue.
I think barbecue. That sounds kind of cannibalistic, not gonna lie. Like I'm not gonna say that to Alex, but man, don't eat your brother.
Right.
But man, I still cannot get over the fact that this is our 300th episode.
Wow.
Like
Same here.
300 is like a milestone I really never thought I would get to. And I really never thought that I would be celebrating it with so many people. Like, I've gotten a lot of congratulations messages on different platforms. I've been able to celebrate with the three of you and Ben and Jake and that random dude Ryan who showed up for like 20 minutes. He was like, I just saw this on Twitter and decided I'd hop on. What the hell?
That random troll earlier when you weren't there.
But that is so cool. That is so fun that we've got that kind of an outreach that somebody brand new to the program just hops on the Zoom call because he can. And then people like you guys who have been with us for a really, really long time, you know, y'all are the reason that we do what we do. The people that are still listening live after almost 3 hours, you are the reason that we do what we do. Thank you to people like George and Francisco and Dave and Michael. And I can't even count all the different people that have been a part of all of our shenanigans over the years. But I mean, we've had some really, really awesome guests. You guys are included in that, obviously, and I'm humbled, I'm grateful, and I'm excited to see.
You hyped?
I'm hyped to see what's gonna happen next. I'm hyped to see what's gonna happen
Me too,
next because whatever that holds, as long as we've got support like you guys, I know we're gonna do great things. So thank you so much for being a part of this 300th episode with me, and thank you for just being a part of the IPC family. It's a really cool thing. I would not have gotten to know any of you guys without this podcast, and I'm really grateful that I got to share that with you tonight.
Hashtag Zackyard Watch.
Hey, I'm the last man standing. So I guess I got to close this puppy out, but I really don't want to. Do you guys have any socials or your own shows that you want to plug really quick before we call it a night?
Yeah, I'll go first. You can follow my music podcast on Facebook at Maniacal Melodies. Check out channelm38.com/maniacalmelodies and channelm38.com/hypefunction. Hypefunction is my Star Wars and films and superhero films and video game podcast. I'm doing a couple Maniacal Melodies episodes this weekend, like I do every Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Channel M38. But what's important to all of y'all, a week from tomorrow, so that would be September the 19th, I am having, you all know Ben, so I'm having him on Hypefunction, along with Jess from the Faithful Fangirl podcast. So we're going to have a riveted Star Wars discussion. I met Jess I met her at Force Fest 2020. You know, they're both awesome people. You know, Ben's awesome, of course, but
he's all right.
Yeah, and yeah, so just you can follow me on Twitter at Hypefunction. And yeah, great to be here for IPC 300. I was there at number 1. I've been a guest a couple of times before, and I can't wait to be back here for episode 600 or whatever else in the future that Zach would like to have me on. So
man, if we make it to 100, I'm gonna go. I don't know.
26.
Man, that'll be in another 6 years. So I'll be like 33, 34 by then. I don't. Who knows what'll be happening in my mid 30s? Who really knows? I don't. Steven, what you got coming up on your podcasting platforms?
So I host a show called Delayed Replay, which you can find at channel1138.com/delayed replay. Basically, we pretend like the movies that got delayed this year came out on time, and we make them up as we review/recap them. So yeah, you can find those on Apple, Spotify, Google, even YouTube. Recently released the Minions: The Rise of Gru episode.
Ooh.
And I also recorded one with Star Raptor on Star Wars Light of the Jedi, so that one will be coming soon.
How did I forget Chris? He's been on this show before.
Awesome dude.
He's a great guy. If you're not following Star Raptor on YouTube, you shouldn't have a YouTube page.
Yeah, and I've had both Zach and Jeff and also Ben on the show too. So like the New Mutants, Tenet, Star Wars Racer Remastered.
Dude,
and
I remember
Fast
that.
and Furious Crossroads.
God, that Fast and Furious episode. I knew the game was going to be bad because it had bad reception when it was announced, and it is bad in reality. But on our show, I pretended it wasn't released yet, so I just started ripping the game, tearing it apart. I think Steven was a little bit taken aback by my negativity about it. It was very entertaining. So if you want to see me be negative, there's that delayed replay.
Steven, have you actually seen New Mutants yet?
Not yet. I'm
okay.
It's not playing anywhere near me, so
neither have I, and I'm really curious how close to the mark we might have actually hit it with that review. Like I'm genuinely curious. Like I want to go back and listen to our delayed replay episode and then go watch New Mutants to do like a comparison contrast on how close it might have been.
Yeah, I know Star Raptor has seen it. He says there is a circle scene like we saw in the trailer, but it doesn't last 30 minutes or however long we said it lasted.
We said it was like 30, 45 minutes or something like that. Yeah. Like tons of exposition. Yeah. Oh, well. Can't win them all. Matias, say what? I'm sorry.
I was going to say I like the New Mutants, but it wasn't as good as I hoped it was. It's really.
That's kind of the case with most Fox Marvel movies, if we're being honest. It's like, yeah, it was good, but it wasn't as good as I thought it would be.
I like many of them, but there are always some that are just,
Yeah. Yep, that happens.
I didn't mean that they made me a fan of X-Men, but...
There's a reason why we don't have a whole lot of X-Men reviews on IPC. I don't even think we did it.
I understand, even though I would want you to do them.
Yeah, I know. And I kind of want to do them too, but that like to do that, we'd have to go back to like the old 2000s ones with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen.
I like those.
And then
I
like
thought you guys did that trilogy. Was it just Ben and Jake for those ones, or
was it? I don't remember us doing that, but I don't remember half of the stuff that we did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it might have been like Ben and Jake, and maybe you were busy or something.
It might have been.
Yes.
Okay, so then we do First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse.
Yeah. And Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, and Logan.
Oh God,
we got to do Dark Phoenix. Okay, Logan is going to be tough. That might end up being an RIPC episode, which is a thing, by the way.
That's okay.
Go follow the Fandom Empire if you want to find episodes of an R-rated IPC show. We're getting ready to record a couple more episodes and distribute those, so be sure to go check them out over there. Matias, I know you don't have a podcast per se, but I'm sure you listen to a lot of them. Do you have any outside of IPC that you would recommend to people?
Well, outside of Underworld, I do do listen to Star Wars Bookworms nowadays, and that's pretty fun. And Welcome to Level 7, which is a podcast about the whole Marvel MCU universe.
Okay.
It's everything from the movies to the TV shows. And right now I'm listening through their episodes about Ancient Shield Season 7, and that's pretty good.
Okay. That's pretty
and my favorite podcast that is a fictional podcast, in a way, is Hello from Magic Tavern, which is about a guy called Arnie, who is trapped in the magical land of Foon. Where he just jumped into a portal at Burger King, and then whoops, he was in Food. It's the most fun show I've ever listened to. It's amazing, and I wanna listen to more of it. I can really recommend it.
That's interesting. I'm always looking for new stuff because I drive a lot for work, and so sometimes I'll listen to just music or the radio stations, the local radio stations, but every now and then I've got a lot of driving and a lot less going from place to place, and it's like longer distance. And so when it's stuff like that, I'm always trying to find some new stuff, and that sounds pretty promising. So
also another thing, if anybody else that also listens to this podcast is Norwegian, then I would like if you maybe read my articles on the Kinomagasinet, or the Cinema Magazine for English people. Where I write articles about mostly movies and some TV series, and review some.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. I can't read them, but I'm proud of you.
Yep.
Thanks. That is a really cool thing to be able to promote. So
yeah.
I think we've given all the plugs that we can give. I am Zach the Voice, ZACH the Voice, or Zach the Voice on Instagram. And again, you can find our podcast at IPC Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The OBS software says we've been on Facebook Live for almost 2 hours and 40 minutes, and Mixlr is showing us for a lot longer than that. So it's officially time to say good morning in Matias's case, and good night for the rest of us. That is officially it for episode 300 of the Intergalactic Peace Coalition podcast. Here's to many more, but for everybody that was a part of this show, from Ben to Jake, from Jeff to Steven to Matias and Ryan and anybody else that listened in, I'm Zach. We're looking forward to next time, but until that time comes around, we're just going to leave you with this final thought. Great leaders inspire greatness in others. And we hope to see you great people next time right here on IPC. But until then, good night, everyone.